Right. Anyway, so it's Florida. Blue player here, which is Soldier, will be playing as the British in the bottom left-hand corner of his map. And of course, on the top right, we have Lucas playing as the Houdanese. And can I block the timer? Yes, I will. Actually, I'll do that right now for you. What can I add? Color source image. I can add an image, I guess. Check Discord. Ah, perfect. Thank you, Harrison. I'll use that. Give me 1 second to block it. I'm not used to casting like this. I've only casted sort of two games on DE, and comparably, it's a lot different to the EP, of course. That should be blocked. So you guys have to tell me if that's correct or not. But yeah, let's get back into it anyway. So yeah, Lucas is playing Houdanese here, and Soldier at the bottom here on the left. And the blue colour is playing the British. Of course, this is Florida, so you start with a market, which is quite a strong start for Brits here. Probably one of the stronger maps for Brits as a whole. You have a lot of hunts, and of course you do have a couple of sheep around the map. And yeah, that's basically why it's so good for British. And you see Soldier here going for 100 coin. I think he's just crackshotted one of those Treasure Guardians, and actually going to go for a trading post. Slightly odd as British here, obviously. Maybe go for a VC sort of build. Comparably, Lucas here. Have a look at Lucas's scouting pattern. That's not how you turn it off. Oh, you don't turn it off that way anymore, do you? Turn it off up there. Yeah, Lucas's scouting pattern just going to be going around the left-hand side. Not going for a TP, funnily enough. So maybe he's just getting 200 wood, and then we'll go for a TP. I went for... Oh, well, of course, he went for a dock instead, so... Fix graphics? What? I think the graphics are all on high. Yeah, they're all on high. I can't fix them more than that. Sorry. The graphics are all on high. I can't fix it. But yeah, he's gonna go for a dock, which is quite standard as Houdanese. And just going to go for a couple of fishing boats. I think you go to 4 or 5 fishing boats. Go for a house with one of those villagers. And that should be fine. Comparatively, Soldier, again, went for that TP. And will be just going for a VC boom. Let's have a look at his deck. His deck quite a heavy water deck, actually, there. Does have schooners, does have fish market. And whale oil there, as well as also the sort of standard card you'd expect. As well, 2 monitors, not a card you'd normally expect, but it is an age 4 card, and it does sort of allow you to go age 4, go for quite an aggressive age 4 those monitors. And we'll go for 3 villagers first. Lucas, on the other hand, is going to be going for a 90 coin treasure, which is quite nice on this map, especially seeing as you've got that market. Will allow him to go for hunting dogs if he wishes to. And yeah, just going to be producing more and more boats. We'll see if he goes for hunting dogs right away at 50 coin. No, going to be overgathering a little bit more to get another boat out. And yeah, just going for that as a whole. But not really much to say. It is just age 1. Obviously, age 1 is not the most interesting in this game. You do get to look at the treasures. I don't know what that did, but apparently I just switched perspective. Didn't think it would do that. But 180 wood even now being found by Soldier. And comparatively, Lucas finding, was that 100 XP? Didn't actually go for it. But I think Lucas found 90 coin over here. Soldier found 100 coin down the bottom. So quite good treasures for both players so far. There's the 3 vills coming in for Houdanese. And yeah, going to be quite a late age up here for Lucas. But we'll have the better economy out of the gate because of that fishing boat start. And of course, you can go for quite early canoes as Houdanese in this situation. And British, again, going, I think, for that VC boom. You do see Soldier nearly having sort of only 130 XP away from his next treasure. Now even more, less so because of that 119 experience. Might see a treasure contention, although Lucas is quite far away going for 100 XP. And Soldier, I think, will just be able to pick up that 80 wood himself. Yeah, 80 wood to pick up. And yeah, there's not really much to say. As I said, Soldier going to be aging up right away. 75 XP comes in from that trading post. We'll pick up Probably VC as soon as that comes in. You can see him trying to get Gangsaw right away. Gangsaw does get picked up. And actually Schooner's coming in for Soldier. Not VC. As you'd maybe sort of expect with a TP start. So we're going to have maybe quite a heavy water game here. Because you have both players going water early. Having a look at Lucas's deck here. Not so water heavy. Does even have Rum Distillery in deck. Not a water dance card which you'd normally see. But you do see 3 Buccaneers as well as those 4 War Canoes. Which are the 2 cards you kind of expect for Haudenosaunee in this meta sort of on water. 3 Privateers being very, very strong. Although it is an expensive 500 coin and they are very slow ships at 5.5 speed. But comparatively, Soldier, as I said, had a very, very heavy water deck. And by the looks of it, already sending a villager down. And, I mean, it's not going to get scouted, I don't think, for a long time. Lucas, looking at his Fog of War here, has only really scouted on that left side of the map. And, yeah, really just on that left side of the map. So hasn't been able to scout any of the coast. And that's going to be quite important when you have Soldier not scouting any of the left-hand side himself, but at the top, in the middle, he's also scouted, but it's 75 wood also going to be picked up. So Soldier going to get a stellar age 1 in terms of treasures. And that dock does go down. You'll be seeing a fishing boat coming out straight away. And possibly a second dock. Would not be surprised if Soldier's edging up with the 500 food. The Governor, which I believe is 500 food. So, yeah, 500 food, just sticking all his villagers on wood would not be a surprise to me. But you can see how much quicker those fishing boats come out for the British player here. They're incredibly quick with that Schooner's card. They're 50 wood, but they also are 40% quicker, if I recall correctly. And, yeah, I mean, this is going to get scouted, this dock, by Soldier. But it's to be expected, really. That's why you pick Haudenosaunee on this map. And yeah, 2 Warhawk going down base, a Longhouse going down, as well as a travel marketplace for Lucas. Does also have hunting dogs on his villagers, but at the same time, Soldier's just going to be pumping out on water, even putting down that outpost. So I was actually wrong. The Governor is not the 500 food. It's apparently the 200 coin crates. And yeah, I don't know what Lucas is doing here. He's just doing standard sort of Haudenosaunee stuff here, going up to the 3rd age. I think off his quite strong economy from the 4 fishing boats he made in age 1. Soldier, of course, going for that outpost. Going to go for another dock, I believe. Yeah, another dock going down. So he'll be pumping out even more fishing boats. You can see his economy now pumping up towards where Haudenosaunee is. 23 towards 26 for Haudenosaunee. And actually, that's even with Lucas sending in five villagers as a second shipment. So, I mean, this is going to be such a strong British economy if it's not contested. And Soldier just going to be pumping out, I think, 700 wood, 600 wood now. And he's going to have such a strong economy. And you've got all those cards. Fish market is 25% to both fish and whale. Whale oil is 35%, and rendering plant is 30% to both. So you can stack so many strong upgrades on water, but you can't on land really. And of course, Florida just has a lot of fish. I think it's got 4 or 5 whales. Looks like 5 whales, and comparatively quite a substantial amount of fish compared to what it is on land. And yeah, I mean, Lucas is now aging up himself, going for 600 coin. Not going to go for the 800 crates, which is kind of what you would expect for Haudenosaunee normally. And by the looks of it, only went to 4 fishing boats. Didn't go for any more. Hasn't even scouted. I don't believe the fishing operation. Actually has seen a dock. That's quite important. That dock being scouted with that native scout of Lucas. It will probably die from that explorer. I would be surprised if he got away. But yeah, scouting that dock, I don't know if he's even building any more stuff here. He hasn't got enough for the privateers, hasn't even got a shipment ready for them. And of course, in the dock for Haudenosaunee, you can make some pretty decent units. You can make the war canoes. You can also make just the standard canoes. They're very, very strong in numbers. But I don't know. I don't know how he can test it. Maybe he has to go for a sort of land play, take out that outpost, and then go for his docks. Because I mean, he's got no units on the field at all, Lucas. Here, he's only got. Not even any in queue, quite a slow age up as well at 6 minutes 30. Stacking quite a lot of food there, 200 food over what you'd sort of want to be. And there's going to be some musketeers on the way for Soldier. And now he's sending in rendering plant, as I said, those strong age 2 and age 1 upgrades to your fishing economy. And it's just going to end up stacking and just going to make it so strong for for Soldier. 41 villagers already. I mean, a lot of that is fishing boats, of course, which are slightly slower than normal villagers without upgrades. That's 15 fishing boats. And yeah, I mean, you're sort of 150% of what Soldiers of Lucas's economy is now. Lucas is, of course, aging up with, I believe, a messenger here. The wise woman, actually, which is the crates. I didn't know what he aged up with an 8 to age 2. Probably a messenger, looking from that. And it does actually put you up to go into age 4 if you choose to do so with that wise woman card. And it's not too bad to do so. But I mean, Lucas he's playing with time here. If he lets Soldier go on water for a long time, Soldier's economy will be so strong that it's going to be quite difficult to really push him off of it. And obviously, the stronger your water presence is, it's going to be a lot stronger. And later on, you can put all these fishing boats in a dock. Of course, when you have all those fishing boats in a dock, I think it does to 120 damage, siege damage to boats, which is particularly effective, as well as that outpost there of 100 range siege damage to boats itself. Lucas not even going for a TP line either, and he's now even getting harassed, I believe, by a couple of those musketeers from Soldier. Yeah, those are come up with a couple of hussars as well, probably be harassing his town centre, around his town centre and his villages, which, I mean, it's just looking good for Soldier at this point. Lucas playing quite slow, playing it into sort of an FI build approach. I think, look, you can see by his resources that Wise Woman will pop it, have enough with a travois, put down a sort of artillery foundry or something, or even a corral. He will have enough to age up as soon as he gets there, especially with all these sheep around. There's 5 sheep where he can eat. And it's going to be that he's going to be pinned down by the 5 musketeers and a couple of hussars. Have a look at the fog taking off here. And there's no villagers out sort of in the peripheries for Lucas. He does have Zuta donating 50 subs. Unfortunately, Zuta, I don't have the text coming up on screen, so I can't really help. I can't really read them all out. But thank you very much. It's very kind of you, Zuta. That's got to be sort of the 100th sub at least you've donated in the last couple of months. I know you've donated about 200 to Haz or whatever. It's pretty incredible. But you can see here, Soldier going over and sieging down that dock. It will put a bit of pressure on Lucas. Lucas did age up with the Wise Woman, as I said, which I believe is 400 of every resource. Might be more, actually. I can't actually remember what it is. But, that travois next to those hussars, is it going to get in? It will get in. And we'll get taken down, though, that war hut, which is pretty important. That second war hut is quite useful to Lucas, especially seeing as he is now getting harassed by a couple of the hussars. And even 2 caravels are now being shipped by Soldier. And you can see that economy, 58 villagers now to 30 on Lucas's side. We'll get the big button called out from Lucas, and he will be able to age up right now. That Explorer is pretty strong, and especially when you get that big Hune's scouting party coming out, and it will go down though, and that's 100 XP. So he'll lose the hut. He understands that, but he's gonna be able to take out that charger, which is 100 XP, and losing that Explorer for Hune's is quite important. That dock goes down. A small fishing operation that Lucas had went down, but at the same time, I mean, Lucas will have a time when he has the tech advantage. Soldier, of course, is British, won't be able to fast age, so he will have a very strong economy, won't be able to fast age at the same time. So have that long 120-second age up. I believe it's 120 seconds. Might be 9. I don't think it is 120. I don't know how long it is. But, yeah, Soldier's, he's strong on the economy-wise, but he's staying age 2. Lucas is going to be age 4 in just a second. Already getting in the elite tomahawk. So, of course, with this strategy, normally what you do is you send 16 tomahawks, get all the big buttons out, and you get a sort of mass of 40 tomahawks. Then you get out the artillery foundry units, those light cannons, which, of course, become field guns for 500 resources, which is very strong. Lucas also aging up, I believe, with the chief, which, off the top of my head, is a number of villagers. I think it's sort of 10 villagers, so it's quite a strong economy boost. So it's going to be age 4 versus age 2 at this point, with the age 2 player being heavily up on sort of the economy side of things. But at the same time, what do you do versus a Houdinese who's going to have field cannons, going to have incredibly strong tomahawks with sort of 36 range attack, I think they have in the end. And it's going to be very difficult to play versus this, I think, as Soldier. But it's going to be, if Lucas can sort of crack Soldier now and take out but basically win without the economy advantage that Soldier has. It's going to sort of tip the balance, but at the same time, if Soldier can defend this, it goes to Soldier's win at the end of the day. And you can see that last fishing boat getting cleaned up by Lukas. He can't actually, he doesn't even see the rest of the economy, so doesn't even see the amount of units amount of fishing boats that Soldier has. Soldier not aging yet, notably. So it's going to be age 2 versus age 4. So this is going to be quite tricky for Lukas, for Soldier even. Especially seeing as British doesn't have a skirmisher in age 2. They're not Dutch. They don't have really any way of dealing with those light cannons except from these hussars. But hussars, they just get teared to pieces by these are basically these are age 2 tomahawks, so they're going to be a lot stronger than this. Oh no, they're not. Those are different ones. That's what's confusing me. These Houdini's, he's got 2 different types of tomahawks in there. One of them was a converted one. That one. You can see it has a different name. But yeah, once he gets the upgrades in on those tomahawks, the champion tomahawks, which is coming in right now, we've got the 4 light cannons coming in. And it's just going to be very difficult to deal with. The field cannon upgrade is very cheap and accessible. It's 250 resources, if I recall correctly. 250 wood, 250 food. So that's what Lukas is getting right now. And it does need to put down a couple of houses. But there's the 4 light cannons. Incredible units there, like culverins and falconets. And they don't have to pack up. And they just work very, very well. These hussars might be able to get a snipe on some of those cannons, which would be pretty big. But I think Lukas is quite a diligent player. We'll put them near his army here. But we'll need to push out soon. Soldier pushing forward here, I think, is a bit of a mistake. I mean, he wants to age. Like, what do you do versus if, like, let's say Lukas can get out 8 of these. What do you do versus 8 field cannons and a load of tomahawks and age 2 is they're just not strong. And you can see now he's even shipping in Team Musketeer Grenadier. Hit points to ship in the attack card. So these are strong units. 26 attack for age 2 is strong. Explorer going down. But these champion tomahawks, 28 attack, but look at hand attack, 21 hand attack, times 3 versus cavalry. So those hussars are just going to get melted when they get into hand-to-hand combat. Speed up a bit. Oh, it's chugging. I don't want to speed up too much. That's too fast now. That's the correct speed. There you go. So yeah, those champion tomahawks are just going to melt those husks, and you can see Lukas probably going to be sending 16 tomahawks here. Yep, 16 tomahawks. Field cannon came in. There's 87 attack now. 2 versus infantry. Doesn't seem too strong, but you've got to remember these have 32 range, so they're sort of culverins in that regard. They do extra damage versus buildings, versus artillery, and versus ships. And it's all about how it's so powerful, these field cannons, because you can move them back and forth, and it's just a mass of these tomahawks. Again, Brits aren't very good versus a mass amount of effectively heavy infantry. And I don't know. It's so odd. Soldier's not aging here. He had he had a lot of time to age, not age to time. And he could have just could have stayed in base, could have defended substantially and then won. Because look at his economy. 86 villagers to Lukas's admittedly quite strong economy at 4. But you're max pop, but you have nothing to deal with these cannons. But yes, there's a lot of hussars, but again, these are age 2 hussars with 320 HP. Yeah, he can send in sort of cavalry hit points or whatever. But he's just going to get demolished by the cannons. I mean, Lukas probably going to have another batch of 5 at some point of those field cannons. You do see him pushing forward here with that's champion tomahawks, and I think that's all the big buttons. How many is there? 31 there. There's also 16 on the field. This is going to be quite difficult to do with all these hussars, though. And there's actually not a lot of anti-infantry there. There's only 4 of those field cannons. Again, they're better in numbers than they are just on their own. But there's enough tomahawks in there just to deal with a couple of those hussars. Not great placement from Lukas. Maybe needed to wait for the rest of that batch of tomahawks. And I mean, he's going to get a good trade here, but I don't think this can't be a good fight for Lukas. Surely not. Those field cannons going down. Yes, those champion tomahawks are strong. They are age 4, but these musketeers aren't much worse. I mean, slightly less HP. There's all those hussars we can now go raid, and this just seems like a massive mistake for Lukas. He was so far ahead. He had the ability to just push in with, maybe if he waited for another batch of cannons, waited for all those tomahawks to come forward, and now soldiers just pushes forward. He has the economy of 90 villagers, effectively, even more so, because of all of these fishing boats with all these upgrades. Look at these upgrades on the fishing boats. They're just insane. And all these Tomahawks, if Soldier brought down these Hussars, would be able to get trapped by these Musketeers. It's now sort of devastating for Lucas. Lucas now sending in the infinite crates, has too much wood, doesn't have enough coin to really fund any more of the field cannon production. Maybe if he can get another 5 field cannons, he could defend this quite easily. But I don't know, not defending all those units is just so... It just seems like such a waste. You understand that Soldier's going to have a massive army. He's been on water all this time. You must understand he's got an economy behind this. And it's just difficult to really do anything out of this. Trouble Marketplace now having to go down all the way over there. The 2 field cannons do come out. Don't think there's any Huss on the way for Soldier, so these will do some quite good damage to the Musketeers on the British side of it. Maybe even just sell some coin here. Try and get some more of that those field cannons in queue, which is what you need as Lucas. Soldier is aging as well, which is really important here. If he can get some culverins out, if he can get sort of 5-6 culverins himself, probably even be able to go directly to the fourth age even. Nice long shot from those cannons. Raiding up here with all those Huss. Would like to see him split those up, but obviously maybe he doesn't have the APM for the MPM or whatever. But yeah, Soldier in quite a commanding position now. And this is what's so difficult about this matchup. You allow Soldier to get into a position where he has such a massive economy because of his water play, and as Lucas, you don't really have a follow up, because as soon as you lose that first battle, which he did pretty badly, it's not going to work out too well. And Lucas can of course make a load more of these field cannons, and he can just go for the sort of field cannon Tomahawk, but at the same time, like what's stopping Soldier? He's even getting amalgamation now, but he doesn't need. What's stopping Soldier just going up to the 4th age? It's going to be so difficult for him to really do anything. Like Soldier gets up to 4th. Is Soldier's game bugged? No, Soldier's game is not bugged. He gets to the 4th age. He gets. Oh, just making a joke. I shouldn't have read that out, but yeah, he gets to the 4th age, gets the culverins, gets some, probably even rockets out, and Lucas can't do anything. You can see the difference in the scores, 10,000 score difference, equal to about 100 score difference in old money in the old game. Minutemen do go down, but yeah, I mean, he has such an advantage here, nearly 100 villagers, and I'd even argue more than 100 villagers because of all of his upgrades he sent. Of course, he did send rendering plant and fish market, can even send whale oil, which it wouldn't be a bad shipment. I've missed this raid all the way at the top, which is my mistake. But yeah, a raid taking down a lot of villagers there, I think, from Lucas. I don't know how to read this graph, but I think he had 47. I don't know what 47 is, if I must be honest. Maybe even lose some more villagers here. I mean, Soldier just needs to buy a bit of time, and he's completely fine. Another villager going down. Those field cannons are getting quite a good trade here, getting all the villagers out. Another bit of a battle over the top here. Those Hussars will get into combat with those Tomahawks. But again, I mean, Lucas just seems so far behind because of this. But going forward with 4 field cannons and not a lot of sort of backing, and leaving those 40 Tomahawks back in base was a massive mistake for him, And Soldier now even going directly to age 4, as I said. Probably even when he's up to age 4, might even be able to go to age 5. He's losing quite a few villagers somewhere. I don't know where they are. Maybe he's deleting them. I think he's just deleted a load of boats, actually. Yeah, he just deleted a load of boats. That's the problem with water. You can ask Bruce Brothers Age of Kilowatt what the problem with water is. It's just you have to delete the boats. It's so unfortunate. There's not enough resources on water. But yeah, I mean, it just seems lost. Now veteran musketeers coming in, you can see how strong those are. Veteran hussars are also in a raid at the top. Will get taken down by a couple of tomahawks at the top. But again, these tomahawks are quite weak. 28 damage. You can see the musketeers actually are, I would say, on par, because they've got slightly less HP, but more damage. And that's just where they're not great. And actually quite a good trade here coming in for Lucas if he gets this. 4 field cannons on the back here. We'll get a couple of shots off on the musketeers. It's what he needs, but it's not going to do anything. It's how are you fighting versus someone who's with a ridiculous economy and double the score? It's just not going to go well. I mean, maybe if he got all these villagers over here, there's even 7 longbows idle over there. Not quite across from the corner, but close enough. But yeah, I mean, what does Lucas do here? I don't think there's really much at all he can do. Even now having sort of 12 Musketeer raids, not the famous four Musketeer raids from GUA. Or the 6 Musketeer raids from GUA. It's going up to 13. Copying his brother. But yeah, it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for Lukas in the slightest at the moment, unfortunately. And he's just sending those infinite 1500 crates. And that's what you do as Hoodnays here. But again, you don't have the economy behind this to fight through it. You're now getting raided all across the map because of these pesky Musketeer raids on your troops. And losing the Explorer right at the front's not good for Lukas there. That's I think a loss of 15% or 10% HP. I don't know what it is right now. They've changed it so many times. And you can see now even Soldier getting in those expensive socket bayonets and infantry breastplate, which does nothing except for those seven longbows not even using. Lukas is on the aggression here and pushing in to take down that market, but as soon as Soldier's up, which he actually already is, yeah, 3 rockets coming in. That will be his game plan. 3 rockets. Even if he makes a couple of culverins, he's been stacked in terms of population space for the whole time. And yeah, Lukas even getting harassed even more so at base. Fight will go down here. There's enough of those Tomahawks to probably ward off those Hussars, but it's you're gonna lose a lot of troops there. There's 8 of these field cannons. They will take out those rockets nice and quickly by Lukas. You can see his TR knowledge of artillery fire going in there. One still alive, though, will get a shot off, and that's going to be quite a devastating effect actually. Quite a good trade here from Lukas, I'd actually argue, but there's so many redcoats here. But those light cannons have quite low HP, quite low attack when you actually consider that as an artillery piece they're not actually very good against musketeers. They're sort of an all-rounder, which is what's both the benefit and the problem with them. But this can't go well for Lukas. He's got no army. He's on 61 population, 60 population, 40 of it, of which is villagers, 10 of which are bottled up in the TC, and then you can see the recorded game has ended. And we'll look around the map a little bit before we look at the post-game. You can see these fishing boats all collecting a coin a second. They're obviously very strong for British. That's effectively a village on each one of these mines, so that's 16 villagers just on the water. Actually, no, it's 20 villagers even on the water, and that's even without sending whale or such. Comparatively on the land, Lukas just hasn't got any land presence at all, and it's really why you can't really come back after losing that big fight around here. The couple of field cannons which went down, the 4 field cannons as well as the 25 Tomahawks just went down to a force which you basically should have won. It was age 2 versus age 4, and if Lukas had waited for his batch of 40 Tomahawks to come forward, I think the game would have ended in a significantly different way. Looking at the post game, of course, quite interesting to look at here. You can see military wise, Soldiers far ahead the whole game, 174 to 89. And I think if you look at the timeline, you'll probably be able to see that Soldier was at most points capped, sort of nearing 100 at all points of the military mass. And Lukas never getting above 55 as military unit count. Military population, Lukas never getting above 76, and Soldier always stacking at about 100. Even if you're a couple of ages behind and you get such an amazing trade. This trade here is insane. Soldier losing only 10 of his units compared to Lukas losing, that's 40. You just can't come back from it. And at the same time, look at the villager count. Soldier topping out at 92 villagers there. Lukas only on 36 when Soldier was on roughly 70. And that's not counting the quality of the resource gathering. And you can see the difference there, especially. There's 25,000 to Lukas to double 50,000 to Soldier. We'll crit out here into our next game. I will just quickly do something. I need to bring my Discord up so I can see if Harrison sends me a message or whatever. But yeah, let me just switch a little things around, make sure everything's fine. Hopefully the stream is all fine, all good. And we'll get into the next one, which is Harrison still eating roasted pork? I believe he is. He has his Sunday's dinner. But yeah, the next game obviously is 1-0 to Soldier. This looks like Deccan, which is one of my favourite maps, actually, Deccan. Soldier playing as British on the left-hand side here. Lukas playing as Dutch, even, and Lukas playing as China. Quite a uneven matchup, if you ask me. We'll just fix my scroll speed. That's a bit of a bug, which can happen with again. You get the person whose rec you're watching scroll speed. But, yeah. Soldier going to go for a market as Dutch straight away. Of course, you can go for a bank start in age 1 on Deccan. Lukas going for obviously a village, going to go for a trading post. That's always standard for most civs. Dutch won't go for a trading post. It's not really what you want to be doing. And it's going to be quite important whoever gets all those water buffaloes on the age 1 play. Because, of course, both civs quite like the sort of livestock play. You can see if Dutch can get sort of, I think if you get 7 as Dutch, it's worthwhile building a livestock pen, especially with this start on Deccan. We'll have to see what Lukas, what Soldier wants to do in terms of a bank age 1. It might even be worth eating one of those water buffaloes you already have and sort of pumping out that bank very quickly. Yeah, you can buy 100 wood here and then go for a bank, which I think is what you probably should do, actually, although a house going down for Soldier instead. Comparatively, Lukas obviously went for the village straight away, gets his yak, his water buffalo, and that goat straight away on that village, as well as picking up, I think that's 80 wood. 80 wood's pretty strong. And actually, if he picks up at 80 wood, he's going to get a TP start, as well as a double village start. And of course, China, if you didn't know, if you were unaware, gets Northern Refugees instead of a 2-villager card, which when you get 2 villagers down and a TC down, you of course get effectively a 3-villager shipment. So it's actually very strong, and you can see him delaying it ever so slightly there, trying to get enough time to get that treasure down. Thank you, David, for starting to play CSGO. That's very kind of you. But, yeah, Soldier going to go up with... He's going with a 10-20, which, again, you can go for an age 1 bank here, and it's so much better. You get that XP in quickly. You're not going to have to worry about anything else. We'll be picking up a yak in the middle there and actually just scanning around the map. Lukas, will he get in that second village? He will get that second village in. But yeah, Soldier, I think, made a mistake here straight away. He should have put down that bank in age 1. You get the production down. You've basically wasted that 200 coin. And yeah, you wasted that 200 coin. Could have been using it efficiently. That's 4 villagers basically putting down on that bank, as well as that XP, as I said. And you can see Soldier not even sending in a card just yet. So that's what's so important. Because you're not using the card. You're going 10-20. You're basically missing out on having a bank. And there was no need to build that house. He could have built it in transition and then sent in 700 wood or whatever he's going to do. But he's just going to be much slower because of it. Lukas, on the other hand, did send in his... That's Keister, if you didn't know. Sent in his three villagers for his age 1 card. As for his deck, we do see some interesting cards here. We do have Banner School, which isn't a card you see too often, actually, Banner School. Because it's there's a better card in age 3, actually, which does effectively the same thing, but also increases the speed of your villager production, which is really good. Since just sent me a message, I think I know what it's going to be about, so I'll just do it. I'll do it right now. There you go. That's what he wanted me to do, probably. There's Hazza. Thank you, Hazza. But yeah, Lukas going to be going up for Summer Palace here. Standard. It's not the Tory Gates like GUA thought it was or whatever. But bank going up for the Dutch player here. But again, Soldier didn't really gain anything from going to about 10-20. I don't really know why you do it. You get a bank up slower. You didn't even queue a villager. You missed out on effectively everything because you didn't go for that bank. You would have had more XP. Yes, you would have been up ever so slightly slower because you did have to mine 50 more coin. But I don't know. I think it's honestly just worth it. And now you can see Soldier's now got 2 shipments stacked at the same time. He could have even sent in those 3 villagers and it would have been worth it. Like, you're not really gaining anything from doing it. You're not really gaining anything from doing it the way he's done it here. And it's difficult. And Lukas now, obviously, as I said, going up that wonder, is getting enough for the age 3 as China. You go 300 coin here. And once that 300 coins in, they get 700 coin instantly with 400 food from the age up, and will go directly for the age 3, I assume. Soldier is going to go for a second bank, probably 700 wood bank wagon. We'll give a bit of speed here. It's not really much to see in the early age 2. Lukas isn't going forward. Just going to go for this sort of standard build, 700 coin coming in. And a bank going down for Soldier. Never bank. Stable going down. That's the first interesting building. And you can see Soldier now eating all those yaks. But yeah, there's not really much to say here. I mean, Soldier's just going to be aging, I think, or going for 5 Huss. A difficult matchup for Dutch player here, really. Because China's already going to be up by the time you're really pressuring them with anything. You are going to have a better economy as Dutch, but again, China just goes Porcelain Tower, can even go age 4, and you can see from his deck, 17 Skirm, 18 Chengdao, 8 Meteor Hammers, as well as even 6 Meteor Hammers Infinite, as well as those 2 Crows. Lucas's deck is set up for age 4, constantly going down from that 700 wood. And yeah, Lukas looks like he's in a good spot. Soldier, again, I think he played the age 1 slightly wrong on deck, and you can go for that age 1 bank. It's a better play, especially if you're going to go just for a house and not actually go for an extra villager or anything, go for a 10-20. It doesn't make any sense in any RTS game. It would make no sense to go for a 10-20 over a bank, I don't think. Those hustles have come in. I think Soldier only got a couple of Huss. Yeah, only got 3 Huss, which isn't the best batch. Might be able to pick off his villager on a periphery over to the right. And I think they will do, actually. This is the second game. It's 1-0 to Soldier at the moment. That monk will also go down, which is quite important. That villager trying to get Vilpool from Lukas will go down. Sentries are called. Porcelain Tower goes up. And I mean, Soldier's now aging, so he's going to be up slightly slower than Lukas. I think that slow age takes about 60 seconds off the top of my head. But his sort of couple of Huss coming in did get a villager, which is worthwhile. But at the same time, it's now slowed his age up so much that I mean, Lukas could be age 4 by the time that... yeah, I think Lukas probably is going to be age 4 by the time, or at least clicking into age 4 by the time Soldier has it on his agenda himself, which is what's so dangerous about this, really. So Soldier is in chat saying that he wanted to age up quicker. The only question I have to that is, why would you put down the house? That's the only thing that doesn't really make much sense. That extra house in age 1 you don't really need. You could have a bank quicker in transition and then build a house in age 1, especially if you're using the market to trade. I don't know. Food for thought, I guess. But Soldier, by the looks of it, at the top, just going to be scouting around. Might be able to go for that trading post if he has a couple of Huss spare, but we'll just go for a quick raid on the bottom. We'll pick up a villager as well. Oh, you're going to send 3 vills. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Lukas looting a second villager. We'll lose the base of that village, I guess. And there is... I don't think another villager went down there. The villager didn't go down. Lukas, nearly up to age 4. Yeah, it's lacking a bit of food, actually. Does have those yaks he can eat at least. Those have 350 food apiece, or 300 food apiece. And comparatively, Soldier actually going to go for sort of a Skirm Ro8 army. It's quite strong versus China if you can get it in early. But Lukas will age up, of course, with the Confucian Academy. I'll be very surprised if he ages up with something else. We'll eat those next to those yaks, and that Porcelain Tower is on food, so his food economy is very strong. Does have a market up, so we'll be able to buy 100 food if needs be to age up slightly quicker. That village will go down, and those Reuters aren't going to be too effective at raiding villagers. They do have a malice of 0.5, so only 8 damage a shot. And I believe from actually no, Lukas doesn't have the Lukas doesn't have greatcoats, which I mean, if Harrison was casting, it'd be one of the first things he suggests, but. Yeah, those Reuters, of course, They do get countered slightly by those two canoes. They're not the greatest counter to Reuters, but Lucas will right away just be edging up. Intervention's not a bad card to send here, of course, because the Musketeers do get upgraded straight away. So if it's any card that Lucas will send in transition, it'll be that intervention card. But yeah, from the pressure that Soldier has here of just Reuters and a couple of skirms, it doesn't give really that much damage or any pressure to Lucas's base, especially now seeing as he can sort of stay in base now, that Yak, or that Water Buffalo, sorry, and also all those berry bushes. Of course, the Chinese bonuses from the market do, of course, affect berry bushes, which is quite strong compared to the European ones, which don't. Does also have that village down the bottom, which we could utilise to go on the hunt, but I think that's quite a strong move from Lucas to stay in base, just protect those villagers, don't let any die. You're not losing a huge amount from going on berry bushes. And of course you do still have that porcelain tower, which is collecting wood at sort of half a rate of a factory. I think a factory is 7.5 and a porcelain tower is 4. Oh no, a factory is 5.5, sorry. So not quite the level of a factory, but still a very strong building. It's quite a big pressure from Soldier. I don't know what card Soldier's sent in, probably 8 skirm. No, actually, even Cav Combat and 1,000 coins, so he's gone quite economy heavy himself, and you can see those Reuters are quite a lot stronger because of the Cav Combat, 2 extra damage, and I believe sort of an extra 20 HP. But now those arquebusiers popping out on that village means that Soldier probably has to push back here. He does have a slight skirm advantage at 10 skirmishes to the arquebusiers, which Lucas does have 12, of course, if he's weaker. So he does have a slight skirm advantage, but he needs to probably go back slightly, or at least toy around with the idea that Lucas probably going to have a shipment coming in just a second. Yeah, the 18 skirmishes shipment is coming in. Don't see any hussars on the way for Soldier at all, unless he's got some queued. No, don't see any on the way. And I mean, this is okay. This is a pretty good trade, actually, for Soldier at the moment. But once those arquebusiers come in, as well as that batch from the War Academy there, should be fine. Although those 2 hussars are quite high HP still, and they're tanking a lot. That monk doing damage, but at the same time, it's just such a good trade for Soldier, actually. This is a pretty incredible trade. He's now going to be able to get back as soon as that batch came in, and Lucas will have another shipment on the way. But I think Soldier's quite ahead on economy-wise. He's got a bigger mass. Of course, he is 1 age behind. And as soon as those upgrades come in, those Discipline Arquebusiers will become roughly similar stats-wise to the Dutch ones. But Soldier did go quite a heavy economy build himself, even now going for infantry combat. So he's going to have infantry combat as well as cavalry combat in. But that village does stay up. Of course, it's quite a low level of way up the top, actually, but I don't think that's going to do too much. All these villages are quite high. Yeah, quite a low level of siege on this army. 0 HP on that hussar, so I don't think any of those villages are low enough to really get damaged. No, that final village just gets it off. But yeah, that village will go down for Lucas, and at the same time, by the looks of it, Soldier camping out in the middle of a map here with all the resources. And I would say Lucas kind of struggling for resources, now going up to that second berry bushes, but he's still on berry bushes in his base. And berry bushes are at 0.67 a second base, and I think the animals are quite significantly faster at 1.09. So you can see the difference between the two. It's sort of about a third efficiency lost by going on the berry bushes instead of the villagers, instead of the Niglai over here. Nilgai, I guess they're called, not Niglai. Lucas, of course, does have that gold mine and base, which is a blessing, as well as that Water Buffalo, which will produce a number of food. Double the speed of a normal villager. But at the same time, Lucas now going to get in the 9 red coats. We'll have some more shipments on the way. Does have the Honoured Arquebusier, so these are very strong units. Roughly on par, I would say, with the skirmishers of the Dutch now. Slightly less HP, but an extra damage. And of course, as China, you do have some quite strong shipments you can send in. The Repelling Volley is very, very strong. Of course, you do have the 2 Flying Crows, as well as Changdaos and the Meteor Hammers. Changdaos will be quite a strong choice here, I think, for Lucas, because he doesn't have a lot of anti-cavalry. And that's what he's lacking, basically, as a whole. And you can see he's now just pushing out with all these arquebusiers. We do see 27 arquebusiers on the field, and for soldier we do see 36 skirmishers, which are upgraded with that infantry combat card there. But at the same time, these 2 flying crows account for more firepower than with skirmishers combined, probably. We do see an artillery foundry coming up from soldier. I like that. Going through a Colvin queue. You know China's going to go for flying crows, at least have one out on the field. They're roughly in between the power of a... probably roughly in between the power of a heavy cannon as well as a sort of a great bombard there. But they're still formidable with their 28 range and 285 base damage. To skirmishers, they do one hit skirmishers, and they have a large range attack, 5 area effect, which is, I think, actually the same as a great bombard. So they're sort of like a great bombard, if you will. Very slow to fire as well. Village going up top for Lucas. Lucas went for Changdao's next, and does have enough, actually in his resources now to get Imperial Bureaucracy, as well as get another village up, get some more, did get the upgrade there, Lucas, and he will get some more just of these territorial armies in queue. I don't know if he's got the Changdao upgrade. He does. You can see how strong these units are. 5 speed and 22 attack, hand attack, 2.25 versus cavalry, and just versus if you can get them on top of skirmishers, they do well as well. Just because of the high DPS they have just as units, 1.5 attack. Of course, that's 44 damage to a skirmisher at the same time. A skirmisher does sort of basically 40 to it, so it's about equal in that regard. You just have to be able to get on top of them. What's the score? The score is 1-0 to soldier. We've only had 1 game so far, the Florida game, Brit versus Zero, and the Brit player soldier ended up winning that. And this is where I think soldier pushes. He has those 3 flying crows, and he has a decent mass here. Doesn't have a shipment really on the way anytime soon. We'll be taking it into, by the looks of it, honoured meteor hammers. And yeah, I don't think this is a bad time to push. He has to expect culverins, I think, from soldier here. You're playing against a high level player. The other player's gonna expect you to go some sort of flying crow or artillery as China. And yeah, you can see soldier actually now pushing in. Does scout that with a villager, so he will scout that army, which is pretty important here. And it's just going to be sort of coming to a head. Soldier does have 42 skirmishes compared to the 29 only of Lucas, which is where it's kind of hard for trying to get the skirmish mass that it needs, which is what's difficult. But what's really important here is these flying crows are going to get a shot off on the skirmishes, and if they can get a good shot off, you can see taking out 4 or 5 there, taking down the trees. A lot of these are now low HP. Sort of half HP, or sort of actually even lower than half HP. This one's on 51. Those culverins do have higher range, of course, than the flying crows. And Lucas now pumping out some of those honored meteor hammers. The Forbidden Army, I believe it's called, honored flail coming in. Probably going to be waiting for an 8 meteor hammer shipment or whatever. And it's just going to be going back and forth. Players trying to get some picks off when they possibly can. Pushing back and forth. Those Changdaos aren't the most useful. There's not really any cavalry on the field which would warrant their use. They can do well against the Reuters, as I said, and if they get on top of the skirmishes, they do alright. But at the same time, those Reuters aren't really a threat to the Chinese army. And skirmisher, I keep on saying skirmisher, soldier in quite a good spot here. Now got to get onto that village down the bottom, which wasn't prepared by Lucas. Lucas now has a shipment in queue. That Summer Palace will pop out a couple of skirmishes as well as those Changdaos. We'll send in 8 meteor hammers. Probably going to go in with 8 meteor hammers, try and take out those culverins, and then have free reign with those flying crows. Of course, the army that soldier has here doesn't have a lot of siege. Each of these only have 8 siege, and ooh, what are those flying crows? 33 HP. They've got a lock on. It's going to go down. Flying crow goes down for Lucas. Not the greatest for him. And it's just about if Lucas can get a good trade with those meteor hammers, try and get those culverins out, and really soldier won't be able to fight the mass of artillery. That Summer Palace might go down in just a second, but again, low siege on these units, only 8 siege. Do you see some hussars now being mixed in by soldier? They do get affected by the cav combat. village does actually have, I think, 6 villagers still in, which is a bit negative. But yeah, it's going to be, if Lucas can get those culverins down with those meteor hammers or those iron flails, he's going to be fine. But he's just losing the scale more, which is what's so important here. And that snare from the hussars is really nice. And the arquebus says now even fighting hussars is just not where you want to be. All those Chinese cavalry which are at the back now do get blocked by the they get blocked by the Reutermass, and this is sort of what the game is all about now. It's about defending those culverins. If they can stay alive, he's fine. All these Changdao are now down. There's 10 hussars on the way. There's some more cavalry coming at the back, which is quite strong for Lucas here. Might be able to pick off one of those culverins. Of course, these units do have a bonus. These flails are pretty pointless versus culverins, and I don't know. This looks like the end of the game, honestly. Even with Soldier forgetting to send in his 3 vills there, I think the game's over. This army difference is just so huge. The economy difference is in Soldier's favour by this point, I believe. And yeah, I mean that flying crow is basically all he's got left, and there's a couple of redcoats will get some damage off on those hearths, and there's the game over. It's just, yeah, the game's just over. The fight at the end went so badly for Lucas. Looking at the map, you can see it's 5 banks for Soldier, and Lucas only just has a worse economy at this point. It's a semi FF Dutch, and you can't compete with that skirmisher mass. Looking militarily, they're roughly equal military, actually, coming to think about it, 129 to 139. And only 66 enemies able to be killed by Lucas's army there, even though they were an age up. I'm not like experience, I'm not jailed. Military unit count, you can see the armies were actually always in Soldier's favour. So obviously his build was pretty good. Even without sending the 3 villagers, which is, I think, his only mistake here. And yeah, you can see 107 units to Lucas's 87. Of course, that doesn't count for population, which will slightly more be in favour of Lucas. There you go. He's still ahead at all points. Economy-wise, if we look at the resources gathered, you can see the difference. Soldier ahead basically all game. As soon as you got to that sort of midpoint of age 2, going into early age 3, Soldier was significantly ahead, even with that Porcelain Tower. And it's just the game's over, unfortunately. So it's 2-0 to Soldier. We'll go into the next game. It is a best of 7, if I recall correctly. Harrison sent me another message. So yeah, let's get into the 3rd game. Don't know what it is, I must be honest. Houdenaise by one of the players. Yeah, Soldier playing Houdenaise here. So this was Lucas's civ on the 1st game. We'll just quickly fix my scroll speed. There you go. So yeah, Houdenaise versus Japan. Quite a classic matchup. Odd that Lucas would pick Japan into Houdenaise, if I must be honest, because Japan tends to get, they're not countered by them, but it tends to be quite a strong pick going Iroquois versus Japan. The score, of course, is 2-0 to Soldier, so Lucas on the back foot here a bit. We'll make sure the game's running at the correct speed. There you go. I don't know why it does that. It plays at a weird speed to begin with. And yeah, by the looks of it, Soldier going to go for a dock, which we actually saw in game 1 with Lucas playing as Houdenaise. And as such, going to be going on wood, getting a couple of fishing boats out. Comparatively, Japan, but it looks like not going for a consulate early. So Lucas not going for the sort of standard Japan build, which would be a consulate and going for a couple of shrines on the map. Instead, opting for what I assume is 2 shrines. Has he picked a deck yet? He has picked a deck. So you see, actually no Kami in deck. So this is quite telling. 300 wood is the only card in Age 1 you do ever want to send really right now. You're not going to be sending food silos anytime soon. So yeah, 300 wood is going to be Lucas's first card, which is what's quite important. You know he's going to go for something a bit rushy, and I don't like having a deck where you don't have water potential. As in on this map, you could go for 3 boats. 3 boats is very strong for Japan, one of the strongest cards, I'd argue. Kami's nice to be in there, but only having 300 wood, it sort of shows your opponent what you're going to do. Lucas did go for 1, I believe 2, only 1 shrine, unless he's building a shrine somewhere else. Oh no, he went for TP. My mistake. So Lucas is going to go for a TP and a shrine. I believe he got a wood treasure somewhere. I can't actually check that, unfortunately. Oh, I can. 40 wood. He got a 40 wood treasure, so that allowed him to go for a TP. And Soldier just going to go for the sort of standard beef fisher here. Dock. Going to go for probably 1 or 2 more fishing boats and switch all his villagers to food. Looking at his deck, we do have pretty standard sort of Aero water deck here, or Aero water deck counterplay for 3 Buccaneers as well as 4 war canoes, kind of to be expected here. Other than that, pretty standard. Going to be picking up 75 food, quite nice for this Age 1 start with a dock. Allows you to age up a little bit quicker, remove that deficit you do get from aging up slower. Lucas, on the other hand, going for 300 woods first, as I said. That TP will be quite interesting in the sense that he might... I mean, it's even possible to go 300 wood twice. I don't know how good that is. But an early TP notifies to me that maybe he's going to go for a Tory Gates build. I don't know where this cherry orchard is. Somewhere. Here he is. He's going to come back. Go put it down. But, yeah, obviously without the consulate, you do have to age up at 800 food as Japan. So you actually are, relatively speaking, slightly slower, I think, when you don't go for that consulate, compared to just sort of going Kami consulate. But yeah, quite a strong Age 1 for Lucas here, getting that TP up as well as the shrine. Comparatively, Soldier, of course, doing sort of standard stuff. Has enough for another fishing boat. We'll put another fishing boat in queue. Of course, the fishing boat is 70 wood at the moment. And yeah, put another fishing boat in queue, another villager in queue, and he should be up. Lucas will get spotted with an extra shrine, because he hasn't actually collected that many wood treasures. Only 40. Yeah, only 40. It's pretty telling to Soldier that Lucas did send 300 wood, I think. And Lucas not quite up yet, so going to be quite a slow age here. We'll speed it up a little bit because I don't think there's really much more that can happen in Age 1, unless Lucas sends 300 wood here, which I don't think he's going to. What's going to be interesting is what Lucas ages up with and what Soldier ages up with here. Bit of a fight at the bottom here. Of course, the Japanese explorer can just poof away, which he does. Going to go up with the Toshoku Shrine, actually, not the Torii Gates as I was expecting. So this is the sort of greedier play where Toshoku Shrine increases it increases your collection from shrines, access to shrines itself, and of course allows you to do a consulate rush, which might be what Lucas is doing. I've completely just missed Soldier's age up. I'm sorry about that, but Soldier went for the fast age by the looks of it by the time he got up, and went for the 600 wood first. And is going to go for a couple of hyenas in queue. I quite like this. You see the consulate going up. You know the consulate takes a long time. Hyenas are quicker. You might be able to get a bit of siege on it. But it's actually quite close to his base, so Lucas, so he should be able to go up. And Lucas going up quite slowly, as I said. Going up about 5 minutes. Yeah, about 5 minutes he'll be up here. Soldier using these Aina just to scout around. Probably going to be trying to find some of the explorers somewhere. Lucas will pick up 80 wood again. So actually Lucas getting quite good treasures in Age 1. Or at least the transition to Age 2. And has enough to build a couple more shrines, which is what he's going to do. Or build probably a barracks now. Yeah, we do see a stable even coming in for Lucas. I do see 5 Yumis coming out as the first card. Switching that directly to 600 wood. Soldier going for crates now, even building some more fishing boats. So going for quite a greedier build than expected, actually. Normally, when you go for this dock play as Houdinaise, you go for sort of 6 or 7 boats, and when you stop, we do see Soldier going for 9 at the moment, even producing more. and at the same time going for even more hyenas. And this is going to play into Lucas's favour. I mean, those hyenas does see the stable, though, which is really important. And we'll probably take out a villager here if he's lucky. No, it doesn't quite. 5 Yumi, which were in queue, aren't in queue anymore. And the 5 Yambusame, or Yamabushi even, are going to come out. But they will get caught out by the hyenas if they get seen, which Lucas might have to cancel these. Lucas doesn't cancel them. And instead is going to run after the hyenas. So scaring those guys off. We will see Soldier getting some tomahawks in queue. So scouting that stable is really important here. Imagine if he didn't and just had more hyenas out. 5 Yumis now coming in. Naginata's in queue. Yeah, a couple of Naginatas in queue. Hopefully Lucas gets out 5. 5 with the Yumis as well as possibly another batch. Will be good. And once he gets that market going down, I thought we already had a market. Doesn't. My mistake. But Soldier tooled up for quite an economy here. 31 villagers to 20. Lucas only has a couple of shrines. Didn't have Heavenly Kami in. So Lucas is actually quite far behind in terms of economy and militarily, I think, here. Those 4 Nagis obviously are quite strong. They're really strong units. They have 300 HP in age 2, as well as a multiplier 29 times 1.5 versus those sort of lighter units like the hyenas from the Houdanese player here. We'll be able to get some raiding in. But actually, there's not a lot of anti-cav here. If you can get out, he's popped. So he's only going to have 8 tomahawks, and there's 5 Yumis on the way, and those 5 Yumis will be enough to snipe them down. Needs to be careful he doesn't get caught out here, though. This is quite bad positioning from Soldier. We'll get probably a couple of those hyenas taken down. He's doing a lot of damage versus the hyenas. Well, he needs to go back now. He's going to get caught out. His Naginatas are expensive. 200 resources each. And Trading Post will get taken down. And the Yumis do come in. And we'll provide some supporting fire here. I think it's worthwhile staying here as Lucas. Yeah, at least getting down. One of those does go just off a tick. And I think one of those will go down or at least to half HP. But Lucas getting quite a good trade there. Only losing one of those Naginatas. A couple of them are low HP, which is notable. Of course, with the hostile type units, you tend to want them to tank, really. But yeah, a couple more Naginatas coming out. Would like to see 5 in this batch. Unfortunately, I think Lucas is only going to be able to get 4. Still good enough to get some firepower on the field. But I mean, Soldier now has quite an amass himself. He has that 14 tomahawks, 11 hyenas, which will be able to push stuff off. And of course, there's not a huge amount of sort of anti-infantry from Lucas's side. There's no barracks on the field. He's now having to send 600 wood in. And those Yamabushi aren't really that useful. Yeah, Yamabushi aren't very useful. As 5 hyenas aren't, 5 Yumi even, aren't going to be the most useful units here. And the Naginatas, when they get some massive tomahawks, again, aren't going to be doing too much. Soldier again on water all this time. Now getting in that first, I think Gilnets is actually, Gilnets is the first fishing upgrade with 12 boats. It's definitely worthwhile getting I think it's 15% upgrade on your fishing. Doesn't tell me, I think it's 15%. But yeah, this is definitely a commanding position for Soldier. And remember, this is 2-0 up to Soldier. So he's in a nice position here, Soldier. Lucas going more with those Naginatas, hoping there's a sort of hyena switch, I feel. Now finally getting down that military rickshaw. Probably going to be pumping in some units into reduction of Yumis, going for sort of a Yumi Naginata build, if you understand what I mean. But he's going to be popped. I mean, he's going to be on 8 units spare with that shrine pop. There's also a couple more shrines which are going to get sieged down at some point. Those Naginatas have been going down for a raid. Someone asking if Town Destroyer is a good card. It's not very good at all. Better to send upgrades in for other units, really. But, yeah, a bit of a raid here. A bit of harassing from Lucas. I like this. Buy yourself a bit of time. But again, look at this army from Soldier. It's substantial. It's 16 hyenas, 14 tomahawks, and of course, the Wind Feather, the Explorer there. Comparatively, Lucas has only got 9 Naginatas, 5 Yumis, 5 Yamabushi. Couple of more Naginatas in queue, as well as some Yumis in queue, but really, he doesn't have the anti-tomahawks is what he needs. There's no way he can deal with this massive tomahawks. Yes, he can call Minutemen here, but of course the Tad Minutemen are different. They get 2 sets. And the sentries, again, aren't very useful. The Yamabushis, again, not very useful. So his mass is sort of deceiving. Yumis are going to get probably a batch of... He needs to get a batch of 5 out, definitely. Only a batch of 3. We'll send probably 5 Yumis in next. Yeah, 5 Yumis coming in next. We'll be able to harass those Yumis. They do have slightly better range than the hyenas, which is strong. And we'll be able to push off those hyenas with the Naginatas. But it's just... There's all those trees there. It's not a good place to get into a fight. We'll call Minutemen. So you do see those irregulars coming out. But those Naginatas, again, they can't fight those Tomahawks. They're so expensive, these Naginatas. 200 resources each. And Lucas is in a tricky spot because Soldier's got the economy behind this. Has had quite a good raid at the back here all this time. So taking down a number of these units, a number of these villagers. Unfortunately with this UI we actually can't see how many of these lost, but he's still ahead. He's still ahead. Maybe Lucas can do it with sort of 5 Yumis coming out from Iraq's, another 5 from that shipment, and yeah, maybe he can get ahead by just making those Yumis. I don't know. Give it a bit of a speed up. Someone's asked for a speed up of a replay. We can speed it up a bit. But there's the fight coming in. Do see actually quite good positioning here from Lucas. We'll get on top of the Tomahawks with his Yamabushi. We'll get decent amount of damage off from those Yumi, and a couple more of those units will come out from the back. But again, I mean, it's just so many units here from Soldier. Look, there's 11 Nagi, 10 Yumi, and there's 4 regulars, and Soldier has a sort of 20 of each of his units that he needs. And unfortunately, there's no way Lucas can get a good surround here. We'll get a good, actually an incredibly good damage on these hyenas at the bottom, which is what he needs. And all those Tomahawks are sort of idling, walking around, so quite a good fight in terms of that. But at the end of the day, a lot of these Tomahawks still survive, and there's not enough Yumis there to really deal with it. 5 more Nagis there, 5 more Yumis as well as those 2 explorers, and there's just look how many hyenas are here. It's just ridiculous how many hyenas. He has 19 hyenas. He has 9 Tomahawks. Of course, does have some upgrades already sent. Infantry attack as well as infantry HP coming in. Those Nagis doing well at the back here, raiding, sort of annoying those villagers, which were, I believe, are on wood, and cutting off that wood line. Actually, Soldier stacking a lot of wood here. 800 wood being stacked by Soldier. But again, I mean, Soldier has water. He has the ability to go even more so on water if he needs to. Doesn't even need to push this. You must realise Lucas is quite low economically wise. And I mean, he's still making Yamabushi. There's no need to make Yamabushi. We're not doing anything. There's a lot of hyenas here which are getting taken down by these Nagis. And if there was a batch of 5 Nagis on the way, which there is, although it's quite far away now, it's just looking like a cleanup, actually, weirdly, from Lucas. Especially if he can get those, if he can sort of draw a fight out until those Nagis come. There's a couple of Nagis behind are still there, not getting taken down. The Yumis have been having constant fire on those Tomahawks. Where are the rest of the Tomahawks from Soldier? There's a couple of there's a couple just AFK in his base, and Soldier only has 4 Tomahawks here, and it's very well a micro from Lucas here, getting on only the units he wants to, only the units he gets the benefit from of those Naginatas, and there's 3-4 more Naginatas. If he can get a batch of 5 out, this would be huge. Yeah, batch of 5 coming out, quick market trade there from Lucas, well played. And he's going to get those Naginatas come out. We'll speed up the game a little bit because of the slowdown, unfortunately. And yeah, those 5 Naginatas, there's what? How many Tomahawks are in here? 11 Tomahawks and I don't know, actually. I don't know who wins this. There's hyenas on the wrong side. Although the Yumis will be doing good damage to those Tomahawks. The villagers will be tanking as well, which is not what you want here as Lucas. And actually, with those 4 Kenya coming in, as well as the 4 Kenya in queue, this is almost certainly going to go Soldier's way. So I'm surprised here. I thought Lucas would kind of just take this fight, but he doesn't. He does take down that Explorer, which is pretty big, 100 XP to him, as well as a decent chunk of HP getting taken out from those units. But these units have both been upgraded. These Tomahawks are effectively veteran Tomahawks now. There's the 4 Kenya coming out. There's the 5 Kenya from the behind. Those couple of Nagis aren't going to be doing anything really. There's nothing in queue from Lucas which would save him with those sort of Yamabushis, which could have been in queue, or some Nagis. But yeah, this doesn't look great. And with those, yeah, just these Kenya just gonna clean up. And he's now seen them coming in, and a couple of Nagis which are already there just gonna get taken down by his Tomahawk. So I don't really know why you choose Houdinaise here as Lucas. It doesn't really make much sense to me. And there's the game ended, and that's Lucas losing the 3rd game. So it is a best of 7. So there is obviously still a chance for Lucas to come back with this, but it doesn't look likely. We will have a look at the map first. Look at what every player's got here. Lucas, obviously being quite concealed to his base, has quite the actually amount of resources stacked there. 32 villagers on wood, sort of 1,000 food stacked, but at the same time, Soldier actually not stacking anything. Soldier being quite macro efficient there, and just that water play, that early water play from Houdinaise is so strong. You can see 6 as at 12, 14, 14 boats on the water here for Soldier. Comparatively, hasn't had to send any of his sort of 5 villager cards, and still on a 50 villager economy is very, very strong. Post game wise, militarily, about even. It's not even, but it's close on terms of how many military units that each of them have. But early Nagy would have played out well if there wasn't the Tomahawks behind, if that stable wasn't scouted, which is really, to me, what sort of changed the game. And you can see Lucas never got a good fight. He was never able to really take out a fight where he needed to. Did get quite a good fight here, as I was sort of explaining, and it could have gone either way. I think it's sort of this fight here, Lucas could have stolen the game, but the Kanya coming out just ended that. Kanya are very good at the blocking. They're very good against Yumis, and there was no anti-cav there. Economies-wise, we'll have a look at that very quickly. I will restart my game just quickly afterwards because people are saying it's slow. And you can see the economy-wise actually fairly even of both players. I'm surprised. I would have thought Soldier would be far ahead. I think this comes down to crates. You can see the crates being sent in here, and just a straight line here from Lucas. But yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that the resources gathered was so close for both players. But I don't know. But that it was just someone's messaged me online. Should we have a look? Intelligent as a stone. I think that's Keister. I will quickly restart my game because unfortunately it doesn't seem to be abiding by what I expected it to do. And of course this game takes an absolute age to load, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait just a second. Just for everyone wondering, it is 3-0 to Soldier in a best of 7 versus Lucas. So we'll have to see what the next game entails. Is of course the round of 8 of the TakkCafe Cup. I think you guys can type in Takk or TakkCafe or something in chat and see what's going on with that. It is nicely donated by, or sponsored even, by the mobile application, which allows you to interact if you own a cafe with your consumers, allow them to order online and what have you. I'm not too sure what they actually do, if I must be honest. I know it's an app which helps cafes out, but give it a look if you do own a cafe or know someone owns a cafe, maybe sell them that way. Of course, they have donated $500 or sort of given over $500 for us to host this tournament. Yeah, I think the least we can do is send the people over to take a look at what they do at TakkCafe there. The game has launched again. We're just loading quickly to the next game. Well, I know what they do slightly. They make an app, have a service which basically allows you as a cafe owner to interact with your clients. It would be clients, wouldn't it? people order coffee from you or whatever, and they can order online. They can. It's an all-round cafe app, but I don't own a cafe, so it's not. I'm not really their sort of client, or really would understand what it's used for. But we'll just quickly switch my camera speed correctly. Yeah, it's a productivity app for cafe owners. There you go. But the score is 3-0, as I said earlier. And by the looks of it, it is Soldier versus Lukas. 3-0 to Soldier. Onto our fourth map of a best of 7. So it's sort of Lukas is on tenterhooks here. And we do see that town centre of the Lakota even. Not Houdanese. For Lukas here. Quite a strong pick versus the Ottoman Civ and the bottom left-hand corner of Soldier here, of course. I think traditionally, at least on EP, back on the Legacy game here, it was sort of seen as the major counter pick. Of course, you have Abbas guns as the Ottomans, which don't really counter the sort of light cavalry very well, but they do 0.75 instead of the normal 1.5 versus them. But yeah, this is quite a difficult matchup for Soldier here. It does go for a TP straight away. We'll be quite interested to see if he goes for a mosque. We'll go for a mosque. Of course, this does take quite a long time to actually put up. This is not live. We're unable to actually cast live, unfortunately. But I don't know who wins. Nobody knows who wins. There's how many people who played. So realistically, treat it as if it is live. There's no downside to casting in this fashion, really. But yeah, Lukas playing as the Lakota here, and the Ottomans playing, not the Ottomans, Soldier playing as the Ottomans. Score is 3-0 in a best of 7 between these two players in the round of 8 of the TakkCafe Cup. Again, TakkCafe is a mobile app if you guys want to have a look at that. Mobile app for cafe productivity. And you can access that with the !TAK in chat. And of course, I believe it will be in the description of the YouTube video when this goes up. But looking at the decks of either player, do you see quite a standard deck here from Lukas? Of course, actually, I mean, the 7 Lakota support here is a bit odd. 7 Axe Rider and 9 Bison you wouldn't normally have. And of course, 4 Villagers is very standard, very strong card in Age 1. And Lukas, I think, just picked up 110 coins. So quite a strong Age 1. Yeah, quite a strong Age 1 treasure. You won't be using that until Age 2, though, as Lakota. Comparatively, let's have a look at Soldier's deck here. Does go for 3 Villagers first, and with a mosque, as I said earlier. Does interestingly have a covered wagon in deck, which would actually allude to something like the build. Someone will have to tell me what Lukas's name of his explorer is. Someone's just laughed at it in chat. I believe it's something to do with the bull sack. Sack Burhart looks like bull sack. I don't know. Someone will have to tell me. But 80 coin being picked up by Soldier here as well, which is quite nice for Ottoman. The one who touches the balls. Okay, so it's I was close. I remember I think Lukas told me at some point of what it actually was. But it's an interesting name nonetheless. I think all of Lukas's names are in German. Obviously, I don't speak German. I'm English. I only speak English. That's a trait quite common to people from England. But yeah, Lukas going to be going up with sort of standard age up. Not going through a TP that did get changed a couple of patches ago where you didn't get the 100 wood as a Lakota. And even then, not even going for the chest of coin. Thank you, Fighting Frenchman, the ear, for subscribing for 18 months in a row. That's a lot of money. Or 16 months in a row. My eyes are terrible, apparently. Thank you very much, Nate, for subscribing. And by the looks of it, Soldier going to go for a second TP. He's right next to it, going for a wood to get one. And it would be quite interesting if Lukas finds it. But actually, Soldier's Explorer is quite high HP, so it's not really going to make a difference. And Lukas wants to go for a TP himself, actually. And I don't think there was really any converted Guardians on this map. So yeah, Lukas just going to go for a TP himself. Soldier going to go for a TP, a second TP. And maybe even play the TP line here. We don't see any villagers going forward. We do see an age up with the Governor, which of course is the tower and the 200 coin. So someone's asking why we can't cast live. The problem with casting live is that sometimes the spectator mode doesn't show up. And if it doesn't show up, that means we miss a game, and that means we won't be able to cast a series. And the other problem as well is because there's a delay, it means we can't judge when players are going to play. And it ends up with you have a lot of downtime between games, which is not what you want because people leave the stream, whatever. And the downside of casting a recording is it feels slightly less special in a way, but in the same regards, we could lie and say it's all live and you guys actually wouldn't know. So you've got to weigh up the negatives, and at the moment, really, there's just a massive benefit to casting in the way we do right at the moment. But Lucas, going for Hunter Dogs early here, goes for a Tribal Marketplace as well as that TP. Looking at his deck, pretty standard deck as I said, might be going for 5 villagers first, but by the looks of it, going for 300 coin on that Marketplace. Although not going over 300 coins, so he might be playing Age 2 here, Lucas. Ottoman player, don't know why he went for that. He went for the outpost right next to that TP, which is interesting because he's not going forward with a villager, and he's going to get up quite quickly to the 3rd age. Of course, Ottoman always does this. Pardon me. Yeah, Ottoman always ages up pretty quickly. So 700 coin first, 700 wood first. Very, very standard build. And Lucas, on the other hand, going to be going with 400 wood age up, going for 5 villagers. And by the looks of it, just going to be going up. Actually, yeah, just aging up, I think, as a standard. Maybe even going for a stable. We'll have to wait and see. Goes for a second TP in the middle. I quite like that. No stagecoach from every player. It does stagecoach both sides, which is important to understand. Corral going down for Lucas. Might be seeing a couple of Axe Riders possibly coming out. Lucas's macro may be sort of suggesting that because of the low coin count. And then sort of 700 coin going for sort of 4 Axe Riders. That Corral when going for 700 coin wouldn't be a bad idea. But I think Soldier just going for a sort of standard age up. You can see he's now aging up with, I assume, the Hussar, the Scout, which is 4 Hussars, of course. Yeah, Lucas going down with that Corral. Decent amount of damage from that Explorer, actually. It's 525 damage off on that Corral, which is pretty strong. Don't see Lucas building any units. Does actually even go for a cords of 700 wood, which is a peculiar shipment right away. And a major signal to me that he's aging without the 700 coin, which is going to be ever so slightly slower. You're not going to be able to get any of the Axe Riders out, which I think he could have done with 700 coin. But yeah, I don't know. 700 wood's a bit of an odd shipment as Lakota here, especially if you're going to age up, which is what he's macroed for. Stable going down for Soldier, which I would not be surprised if there's car vouchers coming out straight away. And yeah, Soldier's just actually going for the millet system nice and early. So we might be seeing the build here. If you guys didn't know, the build is a build made by Callan. Or I think he goes by Low, something Low versus Low nowadays. Went by Men's Vitamins for a while, then went by... Yeah, he's been for absolutely loads of names. He's gone around the block with his names. But yeah, I mean, Callan's the build is sort of you go for 1,000 wood and then you go for a covered wagon. Wouldn't actually be too surprising. In this matchup, I don't think it's too bad. Lakota tends to struggle if you go sort of standard base a bit. And second Corral, Warheart even going down from Lucas, and he is going to be aging up. Probably with a Messenger here. We'd be very surprised if it was anything else. Messenger, of course, is the fast stage for the... sort of Sioux, Lakota, all the TWC civs have that Messenger age up. That Stable, as I said, going down for Soldier, probably be seeing Cav Archers coming out, and actually even Gangsaw coming in, so getting in all the market upgrades as the Ottomans is very odd. Not something you'd really expect. And there's the 1,000 wood coming in, so I think this is honestly going to be the build. This is going to be Callan's build. So he's going to go for 1,000 wood. Going to be building down 2 town centres most likely. Those 4 Ottoman Hussars just going to be going around the map, probably scouting around. Yeah, so Cav Archers now in queue. Going to be going down for another town centre. You go for the millet system. You go for the upgrades in this. Yeah, I'm not going to even say that. That's the second upgrade in the mosque. And you go down for another 2 or another 3 even town centres, and it's really, really strong. But it depends what Lucas does here. Does go now for a couple of those bow riders. And we'll have enough to get some Wakinas out straight away. Of course, Wakinas are pretty weak. Those bow riders come out at a nice time. will pick up probably a couple of those hussars. Of course, that explorer on the front does snare. They are a lot faster than those hussars. And by the looks of it, soldier trying to get a villager out isn't able to. And so yeah, a covered wagon coming in. So soldier's literally doing the build from Callan's build. So you pick up the 1,000 wood. Hussar being a bit pulled back here from soldier. I like that. Getting a snare off on Explorer, but they are actually going to get picked up. Although the cavalry archers coming out is actually just going to clean this up, unless there's another batch of bow riders coming out for Lucas, which there isn't anytime soon. So yeah, Lucas needs to get back here. He's going to lose to those bow riders if he's unlucky. Or no, not bow riders, the cavalry archers. But yeah, so soldier's going to go for another town centre somewhere around the map as well, and of course that covered wagon, which did actually come in somewhere, unless he just cancelled it. No, he didn't. Oh, it's here. So what that covered wagon does now, it didn't used to do this on the old patch. It now allows you to build an extra town centre as well on top of the 3 you can normally make. So what you do is you build an extra town centre and then you build one afterwards, which allows you to pump out a significant amount of units of villagers, because if you've got that fast building, there's the third upgrade coming in, Grand Bazaar, and of course soldier will need to get the other upgrade, the one which has coin cost related to it, to get in an extra sort of 25 villagers. I think you cap out at 25 unless you don't get it. But yeah, soldier looking like he's going to go for an eco play, sort of not standard for soldier, but soldier, from what I can tell, he likes to play a bit differently. He's not sort of a standard semi-FF player, I don't think. And nor was Lucas, may I add. But this is going to be quite a devastating fight for soldier if he doesn't get out of here, especially if he gets a snare from that Sioux Explorer. Because of course, cavalry archers do only have 6.75 speed. The Sioux Explorer does have 7.76 speed. And we will actually get the snare off and probably take out another one of the cavalry archers. The bow riders, especially when they're elite, are much stronger than the veteran cavalry archers there. And although a couple of cavalry archers coming out now, Minutemen will be able to get called from that town centre. We'll probably be able to defend this quite easily. Lucas will just scout that extra town centre, which is pretty important. And he now knows probably needs to go for maybe even an eco play of his own. I don't know, but. Oh, God, you're just calling people bad in chat. That's nice of you, Gaia. But yeah, there's the 4th town centre going down for the Ottoman player. 1,000 coin now coming in. Probably an age up, actually, in queue at some point. And I don't know. I think this looks good for soldier here. Like, again, it's 3-0 to soldier at the moment at a best of 7. So he's in a position which is sort of commanding. But that other town centre going up. And economy-wise, it's just going to go way more in favour of soldier. As soon as those villagers get sorted out, more and more come out. Does have all the upgrades on that mosque as well, which makes them much quicker. And 4 town centres, even if you're half the speed, don't pay for any of it. I think at this point you're 3/4 of the speed of a normal villager, and you've got 4 town centres as well as not paying for them. They're just going to be so quick. Lucas, on the other hand, is going to go for dog soldiers here, which I don't really like too much, because you only see a stable. You haven't seen any infantry from soldier. Soldier does need some sort of infantry though, because these Wakinas, although they are quite weak in terms of their HP, only 106, they do have 20 ranged attack, which is comparable to a normal skirmisher. Actually, it's higher than a normal skirmisher. Normal skirmisher has 18, so they do more damage, but they're cheaper and they have less HP. But again, I mean, these town centres, they're producing villagers so quickly. 5 abbas now coming in as a shipment. Not entirely sure I like 5 abbas. It's not the best shipment in the world. You could probably have sent the 2 falconets actually here versus that massive Wakinas. But yeah, I mean, 5 abbas is going to come out. Minutemen's going to come out. Vills also added in there, might do quite well, as well as those veteran cavalry archers. Although this town centre with is Lucas siege dancing? No, Lucas isn't siege dancing. So this town centre is going to go down relatively quickly. 5 abbas do come out now. You will be able to poke. They do have actually the same range of the Wakinas, which is interesting. But they're not very good against these elite bow riders, which is what's important. No evading from Sioux. And Subo looks like we're going to get a decent trade here. There's not a lot of the sort of anti-Wakina units that you want. There is another 5 Abbas guns from Soldier. No veteran Abbas guns in queue, which is quite important to get early on. And again, Abbas guns just don't do very well against the bow riders that Sue have. Or Lakota have even. And those Minutemen are kind of wasted now. They're not really going to be doing much damage here. Lakota actually getting in trading the stagecoach line on his side, which I like for Lucas. And yeah, Soldier not getting a lot of utility out of all these Abbas guns, and it doesn't look like this game is going to go really much in his favour now. There's such a massive Sioux army. Sioux now has those bow riders even more so coming over. Those Minutemen, which Soldier did call, are now half HP, lost most of their use. No, don't see any CM from Soldier, which I know Don Arty is a big proponent of CM. I think would be very good here. Imagine just a block of 50 Minutemen popping on that TC, and when that fight was underneath it would have been pretty good. And yeah, it doesn't look good for Soldier now. Artillery Frenzy is going to go down. 8 Jans are going to get shipped, but they're 8 H2 Jans. They're not going to be doing too great. Do get shipped to the forward TC as well, which isn't really where you want them. And there's the dog soldiers coming in. Lucas is going to have the ability to send in those dog soldiers as well. And honestly, it kind of looks like Callan's build, even though it's talked about a lot, well received by the sounds of it by many people, but it's not going to go too well. He has got the advantage in terms of economy, but he's now stuck. He hasn't got the upgrade from the mosque. Does need to get that in just a second, Soldier. But yeah, I don't know. You got Crabgot talking about Germany having some of the worst worst shipments in the game, which is just mental. But yeah, this doesn't look too good, especially if Lucas goes on siege down. So all these buildings are just down like instantaneously. He gets the big button in 2 minutes, and he gets Cav combat in, and it's just over. Current standings are 3-0 to Soldier, but Soldier doesn't look like he's going to win this game. Although, who knows? Who knows at this point? Does have the economic advantage, which is what's important. But at the same time, look how many villages he has here. 16 villages now going to be bottled up in that TC. Going to lose all his infrastructure, which is pretty important here. Doesn't have the economy really to power himself back into the game. And at the same time, Lucas has also had that trading post up basically for the last 10-15 minutes, which is pretty important. Not 10-15 minutes, but last 5 minutes, which is pretty important in terms of there's about 8 villages. And the XP curve isn't really helping you too much now. Now even sending in 5 Huss as Soldier, which 2 Falcons is definitely better than 5 Huss, but 2 Falcons at this point is not going to be doing too much work. Moss going down, that trickle of 0.75 going to go down. Thankfully for Soldier, he has got a lot of his economy down the bottom here. But saying that, he does have 11 villagers in this town centre, which is going to get circle siege, the old Victor Swee circle siege, by Lucas. And these 2 Falconets, again, I don't think they're going to do too much, because you're going Falconets versus someone who's going to have a significant portion of their military being dog soldiers in just a second. Like, yeah, Lucas is at a point where he can call that dog soldier big button. He can get in Cav combat, which I believe he actually already has. Already has Cav combat, Cav damage, and Cav HP. I've missed all of that. And you can see how strong these units are. Where's the dog soldiers? That's what you really want to see here. Yeah, 43 attack, 1.5 times versus infantry, as well as 852 HP. That's ridiculous for an H3 unit. And he's going to have another 5 in just a second. And this is where it's going to get just very difficult for Soldier to do anything. I honestly thought that Soldier would have been kind of fine this game, but it looks like his math hasn't really gone his way. Lucas needs to be careful that he doesn't take the fight too early, I think, because there is the possibility of... Actually, no, there isn't. There's not really any possibility of anything, because he's just got the advantage. Nice shot from the Falconet, so from Soldier, might take him back into the game a bit. Another nice shot, takes a lot of those Wakinas down. They are staggered by Lucas, however. Another 5 go down. But he's just getting overwhelmed here. There's nothing to defend these Abbas guns, nothing to defend these Janissaries. Again, these Janissaries Abbas guns are H2, so these are quite weak units at this point. And all those cavalry archers are quite weak. CM, again, would have been quite strong, I feel, here. That would have been 4 sets of 15 Minutemen on top of the extra damage from the TCs. I think it's just worth it at this point. Of course, Minutemen can be called from both these TCs. And does have a ship running Q soldier, but there's just not much in the field here for him. And it's down to those Lancaster laws where if you've got the lesser army, you're just going to end up losing a lot of your units because you can't fight a bigger army with a smaller army. It tends not to work because you're just getting overwhelmed, and being overwhelmed is just very shit, basically. I honestly think it's just a matter of time before Soldier goes up to the right of the screen, clicks that cog in the right hand corner, and clicks the resign button. Because what does he do? He can't mass an army here. He's off his resources. He does have a better economy, just slightly the better economy, and will continue to pump out villagers, which of course is the benefit of Ottomans. But at the same time, Lucas has now pumped out a town centre of his own. Does have the ability to send, I think, even adoption. Yeah, now sending in adoption, which of course makes sure villagers produce 40% quicker. We'll put some villagers on that. Oh no, siege dance now on that war pit, but those villagers will be producing very, very quickly for the Sioux player now, or the Lakota player. And now that the siege dance is now in, 25 damage on those siege damage on those bow riders, and just the whole map to play with is what's so important here. But Town Center's 1 HP, which is pretty funny. Villager could come and siege vet, which would be pretty funny as well. I think you should probably just send a man to go kill it or something. I don't know. Probably doesn't know it's on 1 HP though. But yeah, this doesn't look good at all for doesn't look good for Soldier, unfortunately. I can't. Oh, he's repaired it. He heard me. He heard me beyond the grave, even though the game's over. He heard me. But yeah, with siege dance now coming in, and it just even though it's basically just war, bow riders here, the attack dance doesn't even need to switch to attack dance. By the looks of it, Lucas hasn't even done the big button yet, so he still has the ability to send the big button in. His economy is now getting better and better as we speak, and it just doesn't look good for Soldier, at least. He's now pinned into this corner, doesn't have the ability really to produce any units left him out of that stable, which is going to get out 5 cav archers. God, I wish EGC TV arranged a game against me versus Kaiser rather than his fellow soldier. Would be pleasurably stuffed to slap Kaiser. Breeze, I don't want to be funny. Kaiser has beaten you on many occasions in games I've casted, so I wouldn't. I don't think it's the best idea just to spout shit. But yeah, this town centre is going to go down. A lot of villagers in there. Now the axe riders are coming in. There's a bit of a fight down here, which I don't think is going too well. But but yeah, this is a bit of a settler massacre, which used to be a I believe it used to be a what the fuck it's called? It used to be a scenario, didn't it? Settler massacre. But yeah, this is it's looking good for Lucas here. Yeah, I remember the semi-FF gang Breeze, well known for doing semi-FFs. But yeah, well played by Soldier here. Not Soldier, by Lucas even. Takes that game off of Soldier. Of course, it is 3-1 in a best of 7. Still to Soldier, so Soldier's still quite far ahead. And obviously there is that sort of mental block. But looking at this game as a whole, I think Soldier did the build, he did it quite well. He just took a fight when he didn't need to. And honestly, I think CM was the way to go here. If you had CM and Deg, those sort of batches of 15 Minutemen, they buy you so much time, which is what you needed. You're in a slower position, of this build, and a CM just helps. Sending a CM, especially for 4 TCs, at 60 units, which are pretty strong units actually. They're sort of H2 musketeers, H3 musketeers actually with stats. So they're pretty good units if you can just put them out, which I think would have helped. But looking at the post game here, military-wise, Lakota is ahead on military. Did kill a lot more units there, kind of to be expected. Timeline. Let's have a look at all resources gathered. Lukas quite significantly ahead. Soldier was slightly ahead when he got to age 3, but that's just because of traits. So, really, I think spending all that sort of 2,000 resources on, actually it's even more than that. It's roughly 2,500 because you're sending a shipment for a recovered wagon, an age 3 shipment. So yeah, spending a lot on the TCs, and it didn't really work. But let's get into the next game. Just give me 1 second. I need to check something. Someone's tagged me. I need to check out this. What are my settings? I don't know why Minnie's asking me that. But game 5. Getting into game 5 now. And by the looks of it, it's Lukas. Obviously, Lukas versus Soldier. Lukas in the top here playing as Sweden. And Soldier in the bottom playing as China. So I don't actually know how this matchup works, honestly. It's not one I really see too often. So hopefully it's not a matchup which is too odd. Because obviously Sweden's been changed a million times since the game has come out, which isn't the best for casting, especially things I don't really play the game too often. So I don't know too much about this matchup. But yeah, Sweden's interesting. Obviously you go for the Torps. I think Torps have been made more expensive. 135. They used to be 115. But yeah, the 2 Torps are going to go down for Lukas. Looking at his wood, they're not going to be producing any more wood. And of course, this map's quite good for getting in those goats. A forward village coming in for Soldier. This is odd. So obviously, a forward village allows you to get a lot of line of sight in the middle of a map. But you do sacrifice that villager's speed. Not villager's speed, the gathering speed on your villagers at spawn, and it's you're kind of sacrificing quite a lot because China's early age 1 macro, very early age 1, is quite difficult. It's quite a fine art really of how many sort of getting out that villager as well as getting the villager out on time. But it will allow those goats to be collected and put right onto the village, killing a goat even Soldier here, which will allow him to get the villager out right away. Look on his deck. Have a look at Soldier's deck. Hasn't even chosen one yet. Lukas's deck, comparatively. Lukas has got a deck. We'll slow down the game just slightly there. His deck is, I think, pretty standard. Obviously, you've got those Mamluks, which are a bit odd late game, and you don't normally see 4 copper mines, I don't believe, but it looks like a pretty standard deck for Sweden. We'll find, what is this? We'll find 40 wood, which is quite nice. Some people are sending links for some reason, I don't know why. But, yeah, Soldier, going for sort of a standard build. Well, not a standard build, as I said, like, he's forward. But, looking at his deck, quite an odd deck. Again, it's his Soldier. Soldier's weird because, in my mind, I thought he was always sort of a standard player, but by the looks of it, he's sort of odd. Not an odd player, but he seems to play off meta quite often. Obviously a very strong player in himself. But, yeah, it does have Old Hand in here, but doesn't have the 21 Arquebusiers or 20 Arquebusiers or however many it is. It does have the 29 Chang Pikemen and sort of a standard age 4 China cards, as well as even the Rattan Shields, which actually aren't very good because, of course, the Karolines of Sweden do have the actually a 1.5 multiplier on their shots versus Rattans. But yeah, not the most. It's not the weirdest deck, but it's also not the most normal deck for Sweden, for China here even. Sweden, on the other hand, as I said, quite a standard deck. We do see quite a bit of a contention between these Karl Lefanzus, whatever his name is, Linahans, or something, and Wang Lang. Two great names. Of course, you do start with a macaque here, which is why that was in the fight. And yeah, just sort of a standard age 1 here. Some soldier going forward of that village, which is a bit odd. You do get a villager forward, of course, which is quite good. I will go slightly quicker, of course, because it is age 1, not the most interesting thing in the world. We'll see what soldiers building is wonder. It tends to be somewhat interesting. We'll go down with a summer palace, so this is standard. And bit of a contention. That's not a contention. That's just Lucas, or soldier even, picking up 80 coin. Comparatively. Top going down, as well as 75 food being picked up by Lucas. Lucas going up with... What's he going up with? I don't even know. A naturist, which is a cow, isn't it? So naturalist. No, it is naturist. That's I think that's 2 cows and 3 villagers, or 2 villagers and 3 cows or something. Lucas could be picking up some coin and some XP. Thank you, Rafe King Best Hero, for subscribing. I will use this time just to tell you guys that, of course, this is sponsored by TakkCafe for the tune of $500. That is a app which helps manage a cafe, basically, or helps make your cafe more productive. Productivity app for a cafe. So if you guys are interested, do !cafe there. But going into age 2 here, we do see 700 wood coming out from Lucas, and I suspect 700 coin. No, 9 Chang pikemen coming in, and a forward war academy from Soldier, which is, of course, non-standard, but it is sort of age 2 play from China to a T. You will expect actually a stable coming out from Lucas at the back here. I missed all of this. So that stable coming out is going to end up being quite a negative once those 9 Quang Pikemen or Chang Pikemen come out, because they're not going to be able to do very much, are they? And there's the 700 wood come down. Lucas just going to be trying to get onto those coin mines, as well as the, I think you go on wood, coin, and berries for the torps. And that stable was actually scouted for Soldier, which is pretty important. And of course, those 9 Chang pikemen are going to go all the way over to this torp. He already knows it's there. Going to siege right down. Torps do have actually a surprising amount of HP, 1500 there, which is pretty good. We will take that down, but at the same time, yeah, we just see sort of old hand army coming out here for Soldier. Normally you go 700 wood second in this situation, allows you to pump out more units quicker. And otherwise you go, no, Soldier going to go for Chukunu, so sort of all in here. I would have expected 700 wood and then 8 Chukunu. But yeah, that torp going to go down. Gives us a decent amount of XP as well, gives 50 XP to Soldier there. Not as much as a mana, of course, giving 81. But yeah, I mean, Soldier's now got... Lucas has got those 5 Huss. Will be actually even shipping in the 2 leather cannons. I quite like this. Leather cannons obviously very strong versus infantry, if you can micro them correctly. Doesn't have a lot to block, which is what's going to be a bit iffy. Obviously, with leather cannons and sort of artillery in general, you want something to be able to block the artillery from just sort of these pikemen or whatever just running into them, or even the Chukunu themselves just running into them. And Hussars aren't the best at doing that. But, I mean, Lucas is able to get out on the map, even with his pressure from the 9 Chang pikemen, getting out some of the torps on the mines, and on, of course, on some wood. I think they do stuff on wood as well. You can see how efficient they are. 0.75 food at the moment on that hunt, as well as 0.005 wood and 0.3 coin. That's at least a villager. So it's very strong, those torps. So economically wise, probably in favour of Lucas at this point, but I mean, this is quite a big push from Soldier. There's only those 2 leather cannons, probably going to see the Minutemen also coming out, and Soldier, seeing the writing on the wall from those 2 leather cannons being shipped, does put his units into stagger mode. Did kill that macaque, even though it doesn't snare, and probably will go over to those torps. We'll try and find some torps to take down himself. The forward settler here from Lucas is going to be able to get some torps up, which is nice. Lucas now sending in ironworks. Of course, I think that just improves the improves the gather rate by 100% on mines, so it's quite strong. And Lucas is going to have quite a formidable army in terms of Hussars, so he's going to have, what is that, 9 Hussars right at the moment, and probably in that batch of 4, so he's going to have 13 hussars already out on the field to fight with, as well as those 2 lever cannons. And one thing that China kind of struggles with in Age 2 against hussar type units, because again these Chang pikemen are good. They only do 35 attack and they only have 100 HP, so they're sort of weak pikemen, which is what's important to understand. And these Chukanus, of course, are pretty good, but they're not really countering anything here. The Chukanus themselves, that's the problem with China. You can't make one type of unit as China, you have to make 2. You do see, for Soldier, the diplomatic intrigue coming in, which I quite like. It does allow you to make Cossacks, which is quite important here, I think, as the Chinese civilization. Obviously, you can make steppe riders or steppe riders, but they're not the strongest. I think it's actually steppe riders, not steppe riders. But, oh, this is important. This is going to be a massive catch for Lukas. This is sort of messy play, if you will, from Soldier. And those lever cannons at the back are going to ward off any of the advances from the Chang pikemen. And if Lukas doesn't get trapped, doesn't lose too many of those hussars, and really, I mean, he could probably just go in here, surely. Oh, the lever cannon shooting the barracks is disappointing, but yeah, I think he can just go in here, especially with 4 more coming out the back. Good damage from those lever cannons. One of those lever cannons is low HP, but at the end of the day, they're just doing good damage, and each time they get a shot off, that's 80 damage. But not even that, 120 damage versus infantry with a 2 area of effect. We do see from Lukas, from Soldier, the British consulate being tacked in. Soldier saying he's a bit disappointed. I can kind of agree, because that forward sort of placement of those Chukanus, if that didn't happen, he would have had sort of 10 more Chukanus on the field, would have had the British Musketeers to take the fight with, and I think he would have taken it. And yeah, Soldier now doing a mito, complaining a bit, but so it's going to be 3-2, I think. Although I don't know, I don't know if the game's over or not, because Lukas is going to pick up, or Soldier's going to pick up a couple of those hussars. I don't know if the game's over or not. I don't think it is. Of course, Lukas does. No, Soldier even gets pushed off here, and the score difference is quite significant. 2,000 score at sort of 10 minutes is quite it's quite silly. But yeah, I mean, now there's 12 Huss, and it's 12 Huss versus what, 6 Redcoats?
Yes.
Yeah, there's not really much on the field here from Chinese player. Barracks not going down for Lukas. Bit of a funny raid of one Krang pikeman does kick out a hussar, but at the same time, that Torp does stay alive. A couple of sentries come forward. Actually missing the settler there, which probably would get taken down if it got spotted. But yeah, it doesn't look good for China here. It might be to age, although you're kind of in the trap where your shipments are slowed down for China. The problem you have, if you don't go for a TP, which wasn't even the case, there wasn't a TP down. If you don't go for that TP, your shipments, they decline very, very quickly. Keshik's batch is now coming in, but yeah, it doesn't look good for China. Although this is obviously the top level play, and anything can happen. So you might see sort of the opposite happening, and player you don't expect to winning. But these little Quang or Chang pikeman raids on the Torps I quite like, and you can see those sentries now getting a couple more hussar kills, although I see a micro by Lukas does get taken away. Hussar with 11 HP, not too useful as a unit. Consulate will get taken down, which is a lot of wood getting taken down, a lot of time actually. With the consulate being built is actually quite a time sink. We'll just speed up a little bit here. Unless there's anything interesting happening on the side. Doesn't seem to be anything interesting happening up here. Lukas just pumping out more and more of those hussars, but also producing a lot of Carolines. We'll slow it down a little bit while we're pushing forward here. Again, we'll see we've got this little lull. I will tell you guys about the TakkCafe, which is the sponsor for this tournament, to the tune of $500. TakkCafe is an app which helps you improve productivity in your cafe environment. Allows you to connect with customers and whatnot. So if you guys are interested, please do the !TAK command in chat, and it will be in the description as well of any YouTube videos. I'll make sure of that. But yeah, market's getting taken down. All the infrastructure getting taken down, which isn't TAK, not tag. TAKK. There you go. There you go. This event is generally sponsored by TakkCafe, an app that helps cafes and coffee shops improve their experience of their customers. So yeah, it's just back and forth here. We do see a little bit of a raid on all those torps at the top by some of the Chang pikemen, but it's a lot of Keshiks actually from Soldier here. So he's transitioned into those Keshiks. Is aging Lucas, so he doesn't actually really need to push here. Soldier nowhere near to aging himself. The Step Rider's coming in, and we'll push back. I mean, worst comes to worst, he sacks those leather cannons. He doesn't really need them anyway, and we'll sort of push off again. Actually, those leather cannons doing a lot more than I thought they would here. They were sort of destined to die. They get a couple of kills off on those red coats. And now that Soldier's going directly into those Keshiks, and he knows what's... The villager just died here. Oh, there's a Caroline raid over here. I just missed. Yeah, a couple of villagers going down for Soldier. And Soldier's stuck in age 2, which is what's so worrying, really, for him. These Carolines are just able to go and harass whilst Lucas ages up. Lucas now hitting the Fortress Age, now getting in Veteran Huss, which are going to be incredibly difficult for the Chinese player to deal with. You can see those Keshiks, obviously they're Age 2 Dragoons, but they're just not very good. They're sort of half the damage of a normal Cav Archer, and Cav Archers themselves aren't the best. They do have range resist, though, funny enough, which is pretty good for Cav Archers. Same time, do see as a lot of Carolines being built, and Lucas will have a shipment ready. I think he's probably going to... I mean, if he can stretch for it, 10 Jaegers is going to be pretty good. They do come at a quicker speed for Sweden. Bit of a raid coming off on those torps, but Lucas's economy is quite boomy compared to Soldiers now. Veteran Hussars now coming in. Those Carolines. Probably not going to be wanting to take this fight because of all the anti-cav, but again, in a way, having that range resist is actually a negative here for the Keshiks. They're not going to be doing too well versus the Hussars. They do a lot less damage than you expect. Those Quang pikemen are getting taken down on the left. And this is just a fight which, although Soldier might take it quite easily, he might end up with a slightly better trade than he would expect. It's just not going well for him, because now that there's those Minutemen coming in, there's also those North Carolines. Carolines are going to get their veterancy upgrade with 2 Falconets are coming in. And what they're trying to do, they can't deal with it. There's going to be that siege on the field. You've got all these units over to the side. Imagine if those were in the fight as well. Imagine if there was an extra sort of... What's even over there? If we have a look over here... Yeah, if it was another eight Keshiks, 6 Quang pikemen or Chang pikemen, and 3 Chukanus, I think there would have just been... I think it would have been a different story over here. There would have been just that massive units, and it would have just... The Hussars would have just fallen over. Unfortunately for him, Soldier, I think the fight may have been over. I don't think there's much coming back from this. There's a forward down centre even coming down for Soldier here. And there's another 4 Huss. 2 Falconets now coming forward. And Soldier, what does he do? Does he age up here? He's trying to age up. He's probably going to be... What's the age? Yeah, Confucian Academy. So he will get some skirmishers on the way. But again, he ages up. He has 1 ship. What does he send here? He can send 5 meteor hammers. Probably intervention's quite strong. He's already with a British consulate. Maybe if he can get Manchu out. I think that's what he's trying to do. He's got all those villagers on coin. If he can get Manchu out, maybe he's got a shot here. These Carolines aren't the best versus the... Someone's just calling Bruiser retarded in chat. That's nice. Yeah, if you can get a Manchurian Cav Archers, sort of play time, try and get them out, I think he might be able to pull it off if he can allow those skirmishers to survive. And that's what's going to be important here. The Falconets are very difficult to deal with. The Carolines, obviously, are good, but they don't have a bonus versus the Manchurian Cav Archers, which is what you need, really. And obviously the Hussars just die very quickly to them. So if Soldier can get them out, I think he might be fine. I think that's what he's macroing for as well. We'll have to wait and see. He is nearly up. Jerry's asking how many brain cells he's lost from reading this chat. There's not many brain cells to lose, Jerry. You lick too many cats in your time, mate. Manchurian cow voucher's probably going to come out in just a second. They were just queued. Yeah. There's the Manchurian cow vouchers, the Manchu, which are quite strong. Obviously, these don't have a bonus versus falconets, so they do like 2 damage each shot. So, kind of terrible. And, yeah. If Soldier can, again, if Soldier can sort of stay alive, get a batch of, get a consulate up, get a batch of the redcoats up, and probably get a batch of something out from these, I don't know, it just depends if he can stay alive, if he can get enough units to take out those Carolines, and get those falconets up. Okay, I'm just lying, he can't win this. I think he can win, but he can win if he has a miracle and if he gets perfect micro. So if Soldier wins this, I'll donate him $50 to myself. I'll literally give him $50. So obviously that village goes down, so he's going to be capped, popped. And there's a decent amount of army here, but yeah, those falconets are just going to go down. They're going to go down, but there's a massive army here, and Lucas is so far ahead in terms of economy. Those Manchurian cav vouchers are out, but that consulate comes out. I don't know, maybe it's possible. With a dream, with a hope and a dream, it might be possible. Donati giving a good point there. How can Brit be considered strong when they don't have the exiled prince? My thoughts entirely. GUA, that's the only reason he's not top first player in the world. But yeah, this fight's going to come down to if Lucas just runs all his units into a building and starts sieging it, he'll lose. But yeah, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great for Soldier, and unfortunately, I think it's just sort of getting caught over here with all those Chukunu is what kind of just ended the game. It probably would have been very, very close if that didn't happen. And he was able to get those kind of a mass of redcoats out or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't look the greatest at this point. We'll get the redcoats out. Doesn't really actually have enough for another batch. We'll have 2 batches of the territorial army coming out. Pushing forward here. Taking a shot from the falconets. We'll get a couple of shots off on the falconets. Basically, if those falconets can go down, if he gets a good surround from the Chukunu, the Changdao, which he does actually get here. One of the falconets is on like 1 HP. He does get taken down, but again, Lucas is so far ahead economically. 5 disciples now coming out, Changdao coming out as well. Lucas is so far ahead economically. 24 Huss here, doesn't even matter. You just run into stuff. And there's 7 Manchu left. They are very, very strong. But again, these Cavalines, they do good damage themselves. 25 damage at 15 range. And there's the GG coming in from Soldier. I think from a while ago, the game was just over. Thank you very much for Maruccio Fanduccio, or whatever, for raiding a party of 8. I hope you enjoyed your stream. We'll have a look at the map. You can see out on the map there's a lot of torps everywhere. They're not even running out of a coin. Quite close to, but yeah. Soldier was quite far behind in that regard. So it is now 3-2 to Soldier in this best of 7 series. So Soldier did go 3-0 up. And it's kind of just flipped on its head now that Lucas is now 2 points up himself. Looking at the post-game here, military-wise, Soldier actually having a lot more units. It's quite common with China. But Lucas having a much better trades, and a lot of Lucas's units are actually just hussars, which obviously cost a lot more than the Chinese paper units. Looking at the military unit count, or military unit population, I think is a better idea. You can see that the early trade was so poor for Soldier, 40 to 3 in basically a minute there, and Lucas only losing sort of 10 units, which is huge, really. I've got old Marcus Henning here, Lucas. He was so far ahead all game after that. Did have quite a good fight here as well. You can see he lost a couple of units when he got up to age 3, but Soldier's keeping those 17 units out on the right here. He kept them over sieging some of these torps. If he had those 17 units, again, I think it would have gone in a slightly different direction, but time-based, they weren't in the correct area. You had to push in, And I don't know. I think Soldier was unlucky. All those units on the right, or not on the right, on the mid part, the Chukanus were going down about 10, Chukanu going down for 3, which was pretty negative at the start there, which sort of devised his death. But yeah, Lucas is way ahead in terms of economy as well. Having a look at villages as well, just finally, not idle villagers, not ceremony guardians. We won't have a look at just villager population, and actually quite even on villager population. But it just comes down to those torps. Torps are so strong in terms of economy. But we will get into the next game. Load it all up. Recorded game. That was game 5, so we're on to game 6. A best of 7 series, Soldier versus Lucas. Have a look at what the next game entails. No clue what map it is, no clue what matchup is. Someone's China. It's China Mirror. Very odd versus Lucas. I'm actually surprised Soldier went for this. But as he's just played China, and played it pretty well, although albeit in a slightly odd fashion, going age 2. It should be quite interesting to see, because you don't normally see much divergence in build order, really. In a China Mirror, you tend to just to go mass cavalry and then Manchu, right? I think. Might be wrong. Might be completely wrong. Meta might have completely changed since I last casted a game. But yeah, this is quite an interesting map. It's a very zoomed out map, actually. All things. It's huge. But yeah. Again, age 1. China's pretty interesting. You go for a TP normally. And you can see Lucas straight away going for that TP, going nice and early. Soldier might be not going for one. Soldier might be going for the sort of classic double village start. And he will get a 75 wood treasure, which would... I think he will go for a 2 village start, actually. Here. Unless he goes directly for a... No, we'll go for 2 village start. The score is 3-2. And as TakkCafe just asked that, we'll just again plug the sponsor of this tournament. $500 has been gracefully given to us by TakkCafe for hosting this tournament. An app which you can access by doing !TAK. An app which helps you increase productivity and increase user experience with your cafe. I don't own a cafe, so I don't really have a use for it. But if you do own a cafe or know someone who owns a cafe, maybe they'll find that very useful. Allows you to order online, allows you to create a better client experience with your clients, I guess. But yeah, 40 wood now getting picked up by Lucas. And yeah, 40 wood getting picked up by Lucas. Lucas did go for that trading post. 40 wood not going to be too useful right now, as he is now going directly for that village. Bit unfortunate here. The Marco Polo sheep, the Gaia goat's going to go back and forth. Lucas not being able to build that village. And he's popped. This is good. This is a disaster. Those goats are an absolute disaster for Lucas, not allowing him to build that village. And you can see he's now going to be popped by, oh god, roughly 10 seconds at least. So it's really quite bad, actually. Those goats have sort of created a massive problem for Lucas. It's really quite unfortunate. But an absolute disaster for Lucas. But yeah, 40 wood now going to get picked up by Soldier. So Soldier having quite a stellar age 1 here in terms of his economy. And Lucas actually macroing pretty perfectly with that village, but it's quite unfortunate that he had all those really annoying Marco Polo goats which shouldn't be in the game. We'll have a little bit of a rant about these Marco Polo goats. Gaia loves them, but they move around all the time, and they're absolutely terrible for most of the maps, so they shouldn't be in the game. But I don't know why they're still in the game. They still are, and Gaia made them up, so he chose them. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Marco Polo goats. But having a look at the decks, because you might as well see. Actually, the same deck that Soldier had before, and it's called Rattan. So I think this might just be Soldier's standard deck, honestly. It's Lucas's deck even. Soldier's deck. Is that exactly the same? No, it isn't the same. The difference is there's that old Dynasty Reforms and 21 Chang Pikemen in there for Soldier. But yeah, this should be quite interesting. I don't see any player going forward. The difference of going for a village for Soldier is pretty interesting. Normally, if you go for a village, it tends to be that you're going to go for an age 2 play. You're going for... Yeah, normally in age 2 play, especially in a mirror, you tend to want to go for that XP from from the TP. Soldier is going to pick up 45 coin here, which is quite nice. Will propel you a little bit into the next stage. And we'll have enough XP for another treasure. But you can see the XP curve is quite significant. You've got a bit of a chunk of that pie for Lukas already taken out there. Which Soldier doesn't have. We'll speed up a little bit, because there's not going to be too much happening in, of course, the second age, or the transition to the second age. Both players going up, of course, with the Summer Palace. Pretty standard. I think Soldier ever so slightly faster than Lukas here. But Lukas did have that TP and did also have that mishap with that village, which I think is pretty important. Lukas searching around for some bloody Marco Polo sheep really moving around all the time. Yeah, Lukas searching around for some treasures. We'll pick up 35 coin, XP and 35 coin. Soldier picking up a weird one of 30% HP on his Explorer, which means that his Explorer has 810 HP full in age 2, and I think it even buffs the disciples off the top of my head. I don't know. But 700 coin now coming out for Lukas, and Soldier going for 700 wood. So we do see a side village, which I missed, which is pretty important actually. A side village means that Lukas, Soldier, probably going to go for a age 2 play here, which I don't think is the best idea in a mirror, because you know the guy's going to go up with a Confucian Academy normally, and does it get scouted by Lukas? So it doesn't get scouted. So this is really important. It's in the one place that Lukas hasn't scouted, funny enough. And I don't think Lukas even scouted a forward villager. So we're gonna have a look at just going from Lukas's view here. A Soldier now going for 9 Crank Pikemen. Forward mine isn't great for Soldier, but for Lukas, but he does have one on base, of course. We will see how this works out though, because those they're not seen. Again, Lukas right, Soldier right here. Crank Pikemen are just about to come in. Soldier's just being annoying now. One of these villagers taking actually quite considerable damage, funny enough, from his disciples, which is odd. But yeah, the Chinese monk comes forward. But I mean, Lukas is going to have enough for Minutemen. He's going to have enough to bail up, basically start his timer for age up, especially if he gets like goat on time. 9 Crank Pikemen are Chang Pikemen are going to actually go directly to that trading post, which I guess is fine. But again, the problem you have now is you've shown that you've got those units. Lukas is going to be prepped. Lukas is going to be sending in. He's going to go to Porcelain Tower. This might actually kill Lukas. I don't know. But he's going up with Porcelain Tower. Obviously, the more economically driven choice. But again, he can just bail a couple of villagers in that town centre, take out those Chuku News. That trading post buying him enough time, really, to go for that Porcelain Tower build. And again, I mean, if you get stuck in age 2 here as China, in a China mirror, it doesn't go well. You've got a lot of siege of those Crank Pikemen, which is what's important, but you put them over to the trading post. Lukas, he's got to be sending some sort of shipment soon, probably not 8... You know, what does Lukas do here, actually? Because, I mean, that Porcelain Tower is going to go up, right? He sends in 8 Chukunu. Doesn't have enough for another village. He's building one now, and there's also building a consulate and a war academy. That Summer Palace probably will go down, but a batch, hopefully for Lukas' sake, will come out beforehand. There's a lot of siege on these units, though. These Crank Pikemen have... Yeah, 30 siege apiece, so nearly the same as a pikeman. And is that going to come out? It's ever so slightly. It's so close to coming out, and this is very important. It does come out, so that's quite important. So Lukas gets the batch he wanted, gets the irregulars that he needed, and that Summer Palace will still go down, which is a lot of XP to Soldier, but it's a lot of XP where Lukas is going to be age 3, Soldier's going to be age 2. That's what's important here. There's again those 8 Chukunu are now out. Lukas still queuing in. Actually, not decided to cancel the age 2 Chukunu. So really, Lukas can get away with just going. Archibu says if Soldier doesn't get out. What's this? What? If he goes Russian consulate. If he goes Russian consulate and then he's able just to push forward with Russian consulate, he'd be fine actually. So if Lukas can get to age 3 and get out the meteor hammers. Yeah, I mean, if he just gets out meteor hammers, he's fine, right? Because meteor hammers are so strong versus age 2 China because you've got range, right? Yeah, he goes for meteor hammers. He doesn't have enough to really get anything out here, but Soldier's going for the village. Thankfully for Lucas, he has a village all the way over to the left, and of course he can send intervention, which is very strong. What does Soldier go for in the constantly goes for red coats? Again, I would argue that red coats aren't the best idea here. I'd rather go for the Russian consulate, honestly. Because it doesn't really benefit you in terms of TC fire either, because your unit's still tiring 2 shots. Regulars do come out from Lucas here. Utilises that Chinese monk for a bit of tanking, which I like. There you go. There's the meteor hammers out, and this is good. This is the difficulty for Soldier because what's he gonna do? He loses this monk in a second. Lucas gets a bunch of XP. He still has the problem where Lucas has a village. So obviously with China, you can still send stuff when you have only a village. And now he's going forward. He might get caught out by the meteor hammers, but I don't know. Maybe this is sort of Lucas's death. It's going to go either way. This fight just has to go in Lucas's favour. If he can spawn both the villagers and he can spawn both and the irregular from the consulate, he'll be fine. Because the 9 red coats is so strong. Although there's so many Chukunu there, you've got the meteor hammers to deal with them. There you go. There's the 9 red coats. Soldier, realising that the red coats are out, does back off a bit, which is nice. And there's enough crank pipe in there to deal with it. The extra villager does go down. Pushes off. If he can push him off, Soldier is fine. Lucas is fine. Soldier is not aging, which is the most important thing here. And those meteor hammers are so difficult for him to deal with. There's not much anti-cav here for Soldier, but although there's not many redcoats left actually. There's 5 redcoats left. There is a TC fire still raining down. Not a lot of XP in the coffers for either player, so there's not going to be any shipments coming in anytime soon except from those 7 step riders. But yeah, it's 3-2 the score. So this is very close in terms of whoever wins this game ends up winning, basically. Well, no, actually, it's not true. Whoever wins this game, it might go to the next game after this. But, yeah, Lucas, he's in a tricky spot. He doesn't have Minutemen left. Doesn't have a shipment left. Does have a army coming out. Does also have the economy advantage. Probably actually equal in terms of economy. Because of that porcelain tower. And Lucas is actually utilising those meteor hammers to perfection. But actually, those step riders, he needs to be very careful with those disciplined Changdaos. He needs to keep them alive. Because the problem he has now is there's so many Chukanus on the field, there's so many just units on the field for Soldier, that it's going to be difficult for Lucas to really fight this, unless he can get out. Well, he's now going for 11 Changdaos. And the problem he's going to have is, there's 9 villagers in that town centre. Yes, they're going to escape to that other village, but other than the Changdao batch and the territorial army, he hasn't really got a follow-up on this. These step riders have very good siege, 25 siege, like mini optreetniks, if you will. That Puss and Tail will go down, and Soldier now sort of studying himself to age. The score is 3-2, Breeze, but there's Changdao. It's good pop for those Changdao. They will get on top of basically everything here. Of course, Chukunu aren't the greatest in hand-to-hand combat. Arquebusiers come out the back of us, and we'll get quite a nice trade here. But again, Soldier can just back off. The economy's down. Soldier aging up with nothing, actually. It's not aging up yet. But, yeah, once those units come in, there's Changdao on the step riders, but he just needs to take out those Changdao, and he's completely fine, and Soldier's won this game. That Chinese monk does come up. Does Lucas have enough to build some... He does have enough to build some of the other units, but that's the game over. And I think that's Soldier winning the series for 4-2. So a very close game at the end now. Could have gone either way right at the end. And yeah, Lucas just going out. We'll have a look at the military. You can see the difference. Soldier having so many more units here. In that blind spot, he was over on that right-hand side in that blind spot, which is what really hurt Lucas. He didn't scout it, which is it's just difficult. And on the timeline, you can see the military unit count. Lucas way behind in every single regard. Did have that nice BT hammer batch. Was a bit scary for Soldier at points with that 9 pop of musketeers. But yeah, that brings us brings Lucas Soldier even into the semi-finals of a TakkCafe Cup, and takes Lucas unfortunately loses and goes out of a tournament.